is departing, especially top ad executives. So the exodus was massive, and you're talking revenue down like 50%, and revenue for X, the platform's now called, is key because it's the lion's share of the money they make. So they're doing anything they can to get advertisers to return. And they've been at it for 2 years and finding very little success.
All right, stop. Gotta do this news. It's gonna take an hour. So it's gonna be an hour show. So I've got to go down here, this one. Then download. Then play.
Australian Retirement Trust are raw retirement experts, so they know you're working with monstrous momentum. Closing the Loop by EOD, Chasing Tim from Account.
Trump's signature budget. Welcome to Tech News Briefing. It's Wednesday, June 11th. I'm Victoria Craig for The Wall Street Journal. President Trump's signature budget bill could throw a wrench in big tech's plans to power massive data centers needed to fuel the AI boom. But the Journal exclusively reports those companies aren't sitting back quietly. Then, so-called sextortion scams have ended in tragedy for teenaged social media users across the country. Now scammers have found a new way to build trust faster. Our family and tech columnist explains what parents need to know. But first, a coalition of tech giants, including Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Meta, are lobbying members of Congress not to slash clean energy tax credits in the so-called Big Beautiful Bill awaiting approval from the Senate. The Data Center Coalition, as they call themselves, is concerned rising power prices and power shortages could disrupt their investments, and they've sent a letter to the Senate Majority Leader expressing those worries. Amrith Ramkumar is the Journal's tech and crypto policy reporter. Amrith, you've gotten an exclusive look at this letter. What does it say?
The letter to Senate Majority Leader John Thune basically says that tech companies are really worried about electricity shortages and price increases if Congress goes ahead with a plan to gut clean energy tax credits and aggressively phase them out. The letter asks the majority leader to reconsider and also goes into other things like loan programs, office funding in the energy department, and some other changes they want to keep money flowing into clean power projects.
And let's dig into that a little bit, because if these tax credits are suddenly taken away, what is the risk for some of these companies that have invested lots of money and time into building out these huge data centers to power AI?
Yeah, there are a lot of risks here. So for the tech companies, the thing they're most worried about is that there won't be enough power to run their data centers at the levels needed to train AI models. So data centers are getting bigger and bigger. The biggest ones now can consume as much power as an entire city, and they have to basically run around the clock, and they often need short bursts of power. So all of that put together means you need a lot of electricity from a lot of different sources, and renewables are the fastest source to bring online in the next couple of years. They're expected to account for most of the new power generation in this country. So people are really worried that if you get rid of these tax credits, a lot of the planned projects that were in the pipeline will suddenly go away. There are also, again, a lot of concerns about higher prices. Tech companies running these data centers can probably stomach higher prices, but consumers can't. And that's the flip side, which is clean energy companies and the energy industry as a whole are also lobbying hard to save the tax credits for obvious reasons. So the tech industry getting involved is just new and a bit interesting because they hadn't really waded into this fight until this point.
So clean energy is the biggest discussion point here, but also some tech executives, you write, are thinking that this could pose a big challenge for the U.S. companies keeping up in the AI race, especially with rivals in China. So my question to you is, how is the lobbying from these tech companies going on the Hill? Are these arguments sort of playing at both sides of lawmakers' political persuasions?
It's really interesting. The biggest tech companies have been very careful not to be too out there on a lot of these issues just because they don't want to upset the Trump administration. So a lot of the lobbying on the energy tax credits is being done by industry groups or in private conversations. But yes, this is definitely something they're pounding the table on in all their meetings with lawmakers and administration officials. Zoom out and you look at what the US needs to beat China in the AI race in terms of chips, talent, and other areas. The US is really well positioned. But the thing they're most worried about by far is power generation. That's an area where China eats our lunch, and their grid is growing very consistently year after year, while ours is struggling to basically inch ahead.
So does it look like this coalition is going to be successful in getting these clean energy tax credits saved?
The tech industry and the data center coalition face an uphill battle still to get what they want out of the clean energy tax credit discussion, which is to preserve the credits for longer. The Republicans have a 53-47 edge in the Senate, and members have, like Tom Tillis, Lisa Murkowski, John Curtis, they've expressed their desire to prolong the credits and side with the tech companies and businesses on this issue. But at the same time, you can see a world where the Trump administration and others pound the table and say, we can't afford this. There are already concerns about spending and the deficit in this big, beautiful bill. And fiscal hawks in the party aren't going to like anything that increases spending on stuff like these clean energy subsidies, especially in the House. And the House and Senate eventually have to agree on this.
That was Amrith Ramkumar, a reporter covering tech and crypto policy for the Wall Street Journal. Coming up, giving teenagers cell phones can help improve communication, but criminals have discovered they can exploit the trust teens have in their iPhone's messaging platforms to make relentless demands for money. We'll have that story after the break.
With the BankWest multi-use virtual card, you can set an end date on your card when you go on holiday, which means less time worrying about your card details once your holiday is over, and more time for you things, like online wormholes, ice baths, stock.
Chat. Fraudsters pose as teen girls, share nude photos, and ask for ones in return. Once boys reciprocate, the scammer demands money and threatens to share the boys' photos with their social media followers if they don't pay a ransom. But this scam has moved outside the social media realm and onto Apple's built-in text message platform, where criminals are able to more quickly build trust. And it's had catastrophic consequences, as WSJ family and tech columnist Julie Jargon reports. Julie, you have talked to several families that have dealt with the tragic impact of this scam, which played out at least in part for their sons on the iPhone's Messages app. Why do young users trust that platform more than social media apps?
Yeah, so for one thing, iMessages have become kind of a central place for teens to converse with one another in group chats and one-on-one. And there's the blue text bubble, which has become kind of iconic among teens. They don't like texting with someone when they see a green bubble, which suggests that it's not coming from an Apple device. About 88% of teenagers, according to a recent survey, own iPhones. And so when they see that blue text bubble, they tend to believe that it is a teenager. That's according to some police detectives who've interviewed teens about this.
So how does this scam work? Because it seems like building that trust on Apple's platform is really crucial to this. But then you also note in your story that AI seems to be an also growing component of this, because it doesn't rely on the users to send inappropriate pictures to the scammer. It seems like AI takes that whole process out of this scam.
Yes, AI can be part of these scams, but teenage boys are still sharing their own nude images as well. So both things are happening. And so what these extortionists are trying to do is, yes, they are trying to gain the trust of teenage boys. And they do that by initially befriending boys on social media. They pose as a teenage girl or a young adult woman, and then they tend to migrate the conversation to another more sort of one-on-one app, for example, in Snapchat, where boys sometimes they can feel more comfortable exchanging video or images because of the disappearing nature of those images. But of course, the criminals can take screenshots. And then oftentimes these criminals are also asking boys for their phone numbers, because once they have that, they have a way to continue reaching out to people. So unlike a social media app that you can close out of or delete off your phone if you feel you're being harassed, when the text messages are coming directly from your phone, from the Messages app on your iPhone, for example, it's really hard to ignore that. And even when you block a caller from reaching out to you, the criminals can just call you again from a different phone number or iCloud account. And then in addition, when criminals know that phone number, that local area code, it helps them home in on someone's location and makes the threats feel all that more palpable.
So, what has Apple said about this scam, and is it taking steps to protect younger iPhone users?
Apple declined to provide a statement on this, but did provide information on some of their child safety tools. They have what's called a communication safety feature, which is on by default for the accounts of kids under the age of 13. And then parents can turn that on if they have family sharing, where they link accounts for older kids. And what that does is it automatically blurs nude images that are sent to a child in the Messages app. And if a child attempts to send a photo or video of themselves containing nudity, they receive a message warning them, asking them if they're sure they want to proceed. They receive a message urging them to talk to someone they trust if they're feeling pressured to either view or send nude photos. So that is a feature available, but something that parents have to be aware of and turn on.
And you talked to a number of parents whose children took their own lives as a result of being victims of this scam. Are the parents that you spoke to calling for any other action, or do they have any other tools that could be used, things that they wish that they had known or that could help other parents identify that their kids may be targets?
Yeah, the parents I spoke to did say that they wish they had received some sort of notification, that they wish there had been something that tipped them off that this was happening. One of the things that the Messages app doesn't have is a way to report a dangerous conversation to Apple. There are features in some of the other social media apps, including Snapchat and Instagram, that allow users to flag a sender who is threatening to share their nude images. But there's no specific way other than blocking and reporting it as junk mail on the Messages app on Apple devices.
Because there's no way to self-report some of these things on the iPhone itself, do we have a good idea of how prolific this scam is?
You can't report what you don't know, right? So tech companies are required by law to report to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children any type of suspected child sexual exploitation on their platforms, when that includes sextortion. And because there are specific reporting mechanisms for this type of situation on Instagram, WhatsApp, which is part of Meta, and Snapchat, those tech companies have reported huge numbers of instances of suspected child exploitation. So, for example, Instagram last year reported 3.3 million instances of suspected child sexual exploitation. And again, that includes sextortion. Apple reported just 250. The main thing is, if you have children or grandchildren or students or any teenage boys that you care about in your life, please talk to them about this scam so that they understand when someone is reaching out to them and asking pictures, that they understand that this could be part of a scam, and not to send those photos, not to send money, and go find a trusted adult to talk to.
That was Julie Jargon, the Journal's family and tech columnist. And that's it for Tech News Briefing. Today's show was produced by Julie Chang with supervising producer.
Okay. I'm going to change it now to this one.
This GeekWire podcast is brought to you by BECU. Stay tuned to the break as Brian Westbrook interviews BECU's Stacey Black for today's Money Hack about financial strategies for navigating unexpected career change. For more money hacks, check out geekwire.com/BECU. We love to tell the story, the sort of the WKRP Office Space story of how we ended up not at Cairo anymore.
Well, I think we realized we weren't getting paid anymore.
Yeah.
So I can't remember. I know that, but I can't remember the details. But all of a sudden, we weren't getting any more money from them, and we stopped working.
Welcome to GeekWire. I'm GeekWire co-founder Todd Bishop.
And I'm GeekWire co-founder John Cook.
We are coming to you from Seattle, where we get to report each day on what's happening around us in business, technology, and innovation. What happens here matters everywhere, and every week on this show, we get to talk about some of the most interesting and important stories and trends in the news. In fact, John, we have been doing this show Not always under this name, but we have been doing this show for 15 years.
That is sobering.
It's crazy. February 2010 is when we started this show. And so I thought it might be fun to look back and then compare that to where we are today in a variety of ways, listen to a few clips, and get a sense for just how much the tech industry has evolved over that time frame. So that's what I wanted to do on this week's show.
Can't wait. Happy 15th year anniversary.
Let's tell the story of this podcast just a little bit. This podcast is older than GeekWire is. Do you remember how we started the show? Stop. Don't do that. Do you remember how we started the show?
I know it was in your basement.
It was in my
I don't
basement.
know why, though.
I can tell you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I believe we were at the Sundowner Bar, if I'm not mistaken, near your house. Was it called the Sundowner?
I think it was at one time. It's called something else now.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
This was the place that had garbage bags over the windows, so it didn't allow any natural light in.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Why we were in there, I don't know.
I think it was convenient and maybe one of your other favorite places
Okay.
wasn't open or something like that. We did not go there a lot, but there was a period of time where we went there a couple times. And we were chatting and impressed with the conversation that we were having. And I think one of us said, this should be a podcast. And podcasts back then in 2010 were still relatively new, yet just accepted enough that it might have struck us as something that was interesting. And so the history, for people who don't know it, John and I were reporters at the Seattle PI newspaper for many years. We left. We initially started a site called Tech Flash. We were employed by the Puget Sound Business Journal, American City Business Journals. And so we started the podcast there. So it was not originally called the GeekWire Podcast. And I say that as context because otherwise you're going to wonder what the heck we're talking about when I play you this clip. All right, so I guess this is our hello world moment here. We're down here in the basement of my house recording our first official Tech Flash podcast. Is that what we're going to call it?
Yeah, Tech Flash HQ down there.
Tech Flash HQ, yes. So that was the moment. Listen to that audio quality. Do you remember what we were recording those things
No.
on?
No.
They were like USB headsets with little mics in front of our mouth. This GeekWire podcast is brought to you by BECU. Stay tuned to the break as Brian, and I realized I didn't have the little dongle for some reason, the USB dongle. I thought about using a trackpad all day, and the thought just gave me so much pause and frustration that I went home and got the dongle. And it was about a half an hour, 15 minutes each way, and I was just sitting there kicking myself the entire way. But it's amazing how just like this, decades old technology is something that I'm so dependent on still.
Yeah, I feel like I could get away with trackpad in a pinch.
You wouldn't go home.
I probably would not have retreated to go get the mouse. But I get it. Every day I use one, but I would not make a special trip to get one.
I could have done it, and I have done it in the past, but it has made me so grumpy by the end of the day to be using a trackpad because I just find it unwieldy. It's like using, like a piece of spaghetti to try and point at something. It's just, I get it. I understand why people are okay with trackpads. It's just not me.
It'd be a fun survey of GeekWire readers. I guess it would tell us how old our readership is if
yes.
if they lean mouse.
I'm pro mouse. Hi, everybody, and welcome to GeekWire. I'm GeekWire co-founder Todd Bishop, and I'm pleased to be joined here in the GeekWire offices today, appropriately enough, given the topic that we're going to be talking about, by Kurt Schlosser, GeekWire reporter. It's great to have you here, Kurt.
Hey, Todd, good to be here.
So you and I, a few weeks ago, went on actually, it's been a couple months ago now, we went on a tour of the Microsoft campus, the new campus. You also, just this week, went to a physical office space in downtown Seattle, the new Remitly offices. So I want to talk about that a little bit coming up later on, because it's kind of an anachronism, if I'm using that word.
Okay, let's unpack this. You know that feeling. You've got maybe a huge stack of research, potentially useful stuff. A long report could be dozens of pages, and you just need the key takeaways now.
Absolutely. But the sheer volume, right? The density, it just feels like staring at a mountain you don't have time for.
Information overload. It's a real thing. Finding that shortcut to understanding is, it's gold.
Totally. We see it all the time. Data's everywhere. Generating reports is easier than ever.
Right.
The bottleneck isn't getting the info anymore. It's processing it, understanding it, pulling out what matters, quickly in a way you can actually use.
Exactly. And that right there is what this deep dive is all about today. We're tackling that problem, turning dense, in-depth research, specifically the kind you get from Google Gemini's deep research feature, into something instantly understandable, something visual.
And look, we're not just talking theory. This is really a direct look at a practical method. It's taught in the AI Unraveled Builder's Toolkit by Etienne Newman. Think of it like we're walking you through one of the toolkit's own guides, step by step.
Yes, this deep dive is your guided tour. It's one specific tutorial from that amazing toolkit. The title is Great Visual Infographics from Gemini Deep Research.
Perfect.
And it hits that challenge head on. How do you take a potentially huge output, like you mentioned a 52-page document in the sources?
Yeah, that was a real example. 52 pages.
Right. How do you boil that down? Make it a quick visual summary that just clicks?
It's about transforming that raw info into, well, accessible knowledge. Instead of getting bogged down in paragraphs, you get a clear visual story, the key findings.
So our mission today, walk you through the process. Just like the toolkit tutorial lays it out, we'll hit the key steps, show you how Gemini does this transformation. If you've ever needed to grasp complex info fast or explain it, this is a game changer.
And remember, this tutorial, it's just one part of the full AI Unraveled Builders Toolkit. There's loads more practical AI stuff in there.
Seriously, if this sounds useful to you, and honestly, who doesn't need to process info faster? You should grab your own copy of the toolkit now. Head over to djamgatetech.com, or you can find it on Shoplift. We'll put the links right in the show notes, make it easy, get the full toolkit, unlock more skills like this.
Okay, ready to jump in. Let's start at the beginning. Step 1 in the toolkit's tutorial, initiating the deep research in Gemini.
Right, so step 1 in the guide, go to the Google Gemini website. Pretty simple. Once you're in the chat interface, the tutorial says look down towards the bottom.
Yep.
That's where you find deep research. It's not like super obvious maybe, but it's powerful. Click that.
And this is where you give Gemini its instructions. You put in your research topic, or even better, a really specific query.
And here's the first big tip from the toolkit for this process, right?
Yeah.
The pro tip on specificity.
Exactly.
The tutorial really emphasizes this. Yeah. The more precise, the more detailed your question, the better the research and the final infographic will be. Makes sense?
Yeah, think about it. It's like telling your research assistant exactly what you need versus just a vague idea.
Right.
So instead of just tell me about renewable energy, you'd say something like, I don't know. Compare solar versus wind cost effectiveness, residential, US Midwest last 5 years, focus on policy impacts. See,
That level of detail.
Yeah.
Got it. It really guides Gemini.
totally changes the game for the AI's search and analysis.
The guide even had that example, right?
Yeah.
About biodiversity knowledge gaps, asking how AI can help. Maybe mentioning an article from McGill. That's targeting.
Precisely. So you put in your detailed prompt, then Gemini works out a research plan. It shows you its strategy.
And you can tweak it. It says edit plan.
Yep, you can edit the plan if needed or just hit start research if it looks good.
Okay.
And this part takes a bit of time. The tutorial notes Gemini isn't just, skimming Google.
Right.
It's actually finding articles, reading them, analyzing the content, pulling things together like a human researcher, but faster. It's doing that heavy lifting.
It's like sending out a super fast, super focused librarian into the digital stacks.
Exactly. And while it's doing that, you can go do something else. Grab coffee.
Nice. Which leads us to step 2 in the toolkit's flow, getting the actual research report back.
Okay, so Gemini finishes its deep dive. It's found, analyzed, compiled everything. And it gives you the comprehensive report.
And comprehensive is the word, isn't it? But that could be, well, a double-edged sword for speed.
For sure. The materials mention that example again, the research resulting in a 52-page document.
52 pages. I mean, that's thorough, definitely. But like the tutorial says, reading that much when you need the core insights fast, it can feel really hard to read.
Yeah, it's all the info you asked for, but maybe not in the most digestible format right away.
Although the tutorial does say you can export it, right, to a Google Doc if you need the full text.
Yep, that option's there for archiving or detailed review.
But the real magic of this specific tutorial in the AI Unraveled Builders Toolkit is what happens next. How do you tackle that 52-page beast without losing hours?
How do you get the essence?
Yeah.
That brings us to step 3, creating the visual infographic. This is the core technique, the button that turns density into clarity.
Okay, so the tutorial shows once that big report is ready in the Gemini interface,
Yeah.
you don't leave. There's a create button right there.
Prominently displayed, yeah. You click create. Gemini gives you options, different outputs it can generate based on the research it just did. The tutorial points you straight to the infographic option. Select that.
And this is the cool part, the sort of techie bit that you don't really need to understand fully.
Right. The tutorial explains that behind the scenes, Gemini runs code. It mentions HTML, CSS, JavaScript specifically.
Wow.
It uses that code to actually build the visual infographic based on the research findings.
So it's acting like a mini web developer and designer.
Kind of. It takes the key points it found and structures them visually using web tech. That means the output is digital, structured, really powerful.
That's like saying, okay, Gemini, you read the book, now draw me the important parts.
Exactly like that. And the sources say this generation step takes a few minutes.
Not instant, but compared to doing it yourself, incredibly fast.
Absolutely. And once that's done, step 4 is all about using that infographic, interacting with it, maybe tweaking it.
And the result, the tutorial says, is a beautiful visual infographic.
Yeah.
That's the payoff. You go from 52 pages of potential headache to something inviting.
And the key word here is summary. The tutorial stresses this. It's not the whole 52 pages squished down. It's a concise distillation.
Wow, concise.
The materials suggest maybe just a couple of pages usually. Think about that, the core findings of 52 pages visually on maybe 2.
That's amazing. Like an executive summary your brain can actually absorb quickly.
Right. And the guide mentions the Canvas interface where this infographic appears. It's like a little workspace. You can toggle, see the raw code, the HTML and stuff, or the preview, which is how it looks visually.
Does that mean you can change it?
Well, the tutorial focuses on generating it, but yeah, the fact it's code on a canvas means customization is possible. If you know a bit of web code, or maybe Gemini adds more visual editing tools later, you could tweak it. It gives you a fantastic starting point, much easier than starting from zero.
And the benefits, having this visual summary, especially for you, the listener, the toolkit highlights how huge this is.
Oh, totally. The biggest win is just speed. You scan a couple of visual pages, you get the key points, the trends, the conclusions, instantly, instead of digging through 50 pages.
Massive time saver. Plus, visuals help you remember right. Seeing it, structured headings, bullets, maybe charts, helps you understand and retain it way better than just text.
Makes complex stuff feel more intuitive. And think about presentations.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of manually making slides to summarize, you've got a ready-made visual you can use directly or adapt fast.
And sharing must be super easy too.
Frictionless. It's web tech. So save it, make a PDF, share a link, put it on a website, email it. Your research output becomes this portable, shareable asset. It turns that daunting document into a clear communication tool, puts the findings in your hands, ready to use.
Okay, so let's connect this back for you listening.
Yeah.
Why is learning this specific technique, straight from the AI Unraveled Builder's Toolkit, so valuable?
Well, first off, it fights information overload directly. You learn a real skill. Turn dense reports into insights. In minutes, not hours. Cuts through the noise.
It's a powerful tool. For work, for study, personal projects.
Yeah.
You're using AI not just to find info, but to process it, to present it effectively.
And it builds confidence, doesn't it? Knowing you can grab a complex topic quickly because you have this visual summary method changes how you approach information.
Yeah, it shifts you from feeling buried by the info to feeling empowered by it. And remember, this isn't just some random trick. It's a fundamental skill, boosted by AI, taught step by step in the toolkit.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, we have looked at something pretty transformative, taking huge Gemini research reports,
Which are thorough, but yeah, long.
and with just a few clicks, following the tutorial steps, turning them into concise, useful visual infographics.
It's a direct line from deep research to clear understanding and easy communication.
And again, this whole process, turning density into digestible visuals in minutes. It's just one technique from the AI Unraveled Builder's Toolkit by Etienne Newman.
So if this sparked your interest cutting through info clutter with AI and visuals seriously, go get your own copy of the toolkit. Imagine having a whole set of tutorials like this one.
This dive gave you a taste. The full toolkit has the detailed steps, lots of other practical AI methods.
Go download the full AI Unraveled Builder's Toolkit. It's at djongaytech.com or find it on Shoplift. Don't wait. Get these skills, the links, right in the show notes for you. Easy peasy.
And as you think about what it means to get visual summaries from complex research almost instantly,
Right.
here's something to chew on. If insights from deep research can be visualized in minutes, how does that change how we even discover knowledge? Does it make us bolder, ask bigger questions, knowing the answers are easier to process? And how might the speed of this accessibility change how knowledge gets shared and built upon in our data-heavy world? What opens up?
Wow, you just cut out. You cut out, brah.
Today on the podcast, we're talking about the latest updates out of ChatGPT. So they have a whole bunch of really impressive new integrations. I've been seeing a bunch of people posting on LinkedIn and on X some use cases they would imagine using these integrations for, specifically with Google Drive, with Google Calendar, and a whole bunch of other really interesting use cases. I'll be diving into all of that. They have a lot of competition, but I think they're actually doing something that can make them stand out. So we're getting into all of that today. Before we do, I wanted to mention, if you ever see like a new ChatGPT update or a new Anthropic update or a new Google Gemini update, and you want to try it out without having to get a subscription to every single platform that exists out there, my startup AI Boxes officially launched our beta product. It's called the AI Box Playground, and it essentially allows you to use every single AI model all in the same chat. So all the top models, over 40 different models, you can use all of them in the same chat. So you can ask Anthropic a question, switch to ChatGPT mid chat if you want to get it to answer. And sometimes like when I ask a question, I get like a specific use case. Like for example, yesterday, it sounds funny, I was trying to come up with some song lyrics for a project I was working on. I was using Grok, and I was like, it just kept not giving me a very they're like very cringy kind of cliche. And I was like, oh, come on. So I wanted to go over and try it with Claude or ChatGPT. I'm like, surely, like I gave it a great prompt. I'm like, surely it wasn't me on my prompt. Some other model could do it better. If that happens to you and whatever your use case is, AI Box is an awesome solution because it allows you to pay one subscription. It's $19 a month. So you don't have to pay, $20 a month for 40 different platforms. Pay $19 a month, you get access to everything, and you can switch between them all. And you can also compare inside the same chat. So if you're chatting with Claude, you can just get it to regenerate the answer with ChatGPT. And then you can have a little compare tab, look at them side by side and see which one you like the best. So anyways, if you're interested, there's a link in the description to aibox.ai where you can go try it out. I would love to get your feedback on this new product. So let's get into what ChatGPT is doing. They have a few different things. One of the big ones is a meeting recorder. They also have connectors to Google Drive, to Box, and a bunch of other things. So the first thing that I thought was interesting when seeing this was specifically just the fact that this is going to be really useful for a lot of business users. There's, this ties into your cloud service. And so a lot of people are like, okay, big deal. ChatGPT's had the ability for a while to kind of connect to your Google Drive. And specifically, that's kind of for like, if you want to upload something. But this is not the simple upload that we've had in the past. This is actually the ability using something called MCP, Model Context Protocol. And you can actually, business users on the enterprise plan can connect these different Dropbox, Box, or SharePoint, or OneDrive, or Google Drive, all of these different platforms. And when you do a search on ChatGPT, or when you're asking it a question, you give it a prompt, it's actually going and searching through all of your internal company documents or personal documents on any of these platforms, in addition to the web, and in addition to its, in addition to the AI model. So this is really useful, and I've seen people doing some pretty crazy things. One of the big things that I think is cool here is that they have recently rolled out as well Google Workspace integration. So you're actually able to ask it questions like, hey, do I have anything going on next Thursday? And well, a lot of people are like, hey, like, why would you ask ChatGPT what I like? So, and it can go look at your Google Calendar and let you know. You can schedule things, delete things, move things around, like edit stuff. That's really, really cool with some of their agent stuff. But what I think is even cooler, because a lot of people probably are like, well, what is the point? For example, like with this calendar use case, they're like, okay, what's the point? Why don't I just open my phone up and get my calendar out? For me, it all comes down to accessibility and the ability to do things hands-free. A lot of times I drive, and while, I'm not using my phone while I'm driving, I'm sitting there talking with ChatGPT, getting ideas on projects I'm working on. I feel like it's unleashed a whole new moment for me where instead of just listening to music, for example, podcasts are also awesome, of course, but instead of just listening to music where I feel kind of not productive, maybe it's entertaining, but not super productive, I feel like maybe like I'm really curious about something, and now all of a sudden I'm able to get the information that I wanted on that thing because I can talk to ChatGPT. Adding all of these integrations into that, I think, is huge because you can actually not just talk, but also be productive without having to pick up your phone. Maybe you're, landscaping and your hands are busy planting flowers all day long, this has happened to me before. I've, back when I was in college, I ran a landscaping company and I would listen to podcasts all day long, but beyond listening, I couldn't actually do anything. Now, I can only imagine if I had ChatGPT today with all of these integrations, I could literally be working on projects, dictating what I wanted it to do. And I think this is super, super cool while doing something where your hands are physically busy. Okay, so that's kind of my spiel on why that is useful. So what's the point of some of these other connections? How do I think this is interesting? So this is what OpenAI specifically said about all of this. They kind of talked about it, and they're talking about the fact that they have this ability to actually also transcribe your meetings. So this is a new feature that they're adding. And this is something that's in a lot of productivity suite. Like you already have this in Zoom, for example, and a bunch of these other ones. But now that they have it in ChatGPT, it essentially can generate notes. It has timestamps, citations, and it can suggest actions, right? So because you're now integrating this with your Google Drive and your OneDrive and all your other platforms, it's been able to go and see those meetings and actually can transcribe them or create meeting notes and other things after the fact, which I think is really, really interesting. So essentially, users, yourself, you're going to be able to ask questions and get information on whatever happened in that meeting, which is also very interesting to me in the context of some people are saying like you're going to send your digital AI avatar to go to a work meeting for you and it's going to bring you back notes or whatever. And I can't help but think in this circumstance, because a lot of people have been talking about this, Zoom has been building towards this and building a lot of tools that are going to allow you to do this. And they're like, eventually you're not going to have meetings anymore. You're just going to send your digital twin, quote unquote, avatar, quote unquote, to like go to a meeting and it's going to bring you back notes with any action items that you have, et cetera, et cetera. I can't help but think there's possibility there's going to be some miscommunication. You're going to miss some things that happened and that this is possible. And if you have any questions about it after the fact, I think this tool now is solving that problem where essentially it's going to go get all the meeting in there. And if you're like, hey, I know that, last month we were talking about a project about X, Y, and Z, and maybe I didn't see it in my meeting notes or my follow-ups, but did they mention anything about this or that? It's going to be able to go query it, bring you back the information, and then you're not going to be out of the loop. So I think this is going to be useful. I'm sure people are arguing, why do you even need to do this? Why don't you just go to your meetings? I think there's a ton of time that we can save. And for people that are able to kind of do this hybrid AI meeting stuff, some people are going to really like it. Some people will hate it. So I'll put that out there. But I think some people are going to really like it. The other thing that is interesting, when you get these meeting notes back, you can also get them dumped into Canvas, which is kind of like ChatGPT's document editor. It's Google Docs kind of tool. And so you can have all of that pulled into an actual document where you can then work and edit on your document. So if you got action items on a project, it can all get pulled into there. So to me, that actually does make it quite useful. Even if you went to the meeting and you didn't want to take your own notes, you could then, get it to pull in some of the action items and maybe start working on a report right there for you without you having to do that. So this is cool. Now, is this new? Is this novel? Is ChatGPT the only one doing this? Oh my gosh, are they so revolutionary? I would say no. This competes with ClickUp. This competes with Zoom, and also Notion just added some of these features. So all of them have some type of transcription, meeting summarization features in their products. So this isn't the first one that's doing it, but come on, 600 million monthly active users on ChatGPT. This is definitely the biggest company that's doing it. And it's kind of interesting because back in the day when ChatGPT was first trying to compete, I always thought it was so funny because anytime they do something, as soon as Google copied it, with their chat models, I'd be like, okay, ChatGPT is the biggest, ChatGPT is the most well-known, but once Google does it, they have the distribution. Now Google is, it's going to go to a ton of people. You could kind of think of like the search inside of AI, for example, as being one of those big things. What's funny is it's kind of changing now where there's a hierarchy of like startups. Google does it obviously, and we're like, oh no, it's going to compete with OpenAI. But at this point, OpenAI is getting so big, 600 million monthly active users is absolutely colossal, that when ChatGPT, OpenAI does something, it's impacting all of the other software companies as well that may not have 600 million monthly active users. ClickUps, Notion. I'm not 100% sure about Zoom. Zoom is pretty beefy. So I know that they probably have not grown as much post-COVID, but a pretty sizable company for sure. In any case, right now, OpenAI is introducing as well a deep research connections for HubSpot, Linear, and some Microsoft and Google tools. Those are all in beta. That's kind of what I was talking about with the Google Calendar connection. So what I did want to highlight here, though, is it's not just kind of Google and Google Calendar. It's also a bunch of Microsoft tools, which Microsoft, runs most of the software for most enterprises, somewhere between Microsoft and Google Workspace and Microsoft Workspace. You're going to find most companies. Linear is also in there, and HubSpot is also in there, which is a huge marketing company. So for marketing firms, this is really big. OpenAI also said that users can also prepare detailed research reports with their deep research, and they're able to do that using knowledge and data from all of those sources, along with, of course, web information. So this is really cool because you're able to get access to a lot of really big, a lot of data from really big sources. I think this is absolutely amazing. This is all thanks to the MCP Model Context Protocol that helps to connect all of this. So OpenAI is going to be rolling out new features in the future. I'll keep you up to date on all of them. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you learned anything new, make sure to leave a rating or review. And as always, make sure to go check out the AIbox.ai platform if you want to use a platform and get all of your AI models in one place. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will catch you next time.
Oh, finished. It's gone. Finito, amigo. Finito. Finito. Finito.
We have some big news that Microsoft and OpenAI may currently be negotiating their partnership or renegotiating, because this is something that's been going on for a while, and there's a ton of drama in this negotiation. The actual current cutoff for when this negotiation, or for when the current partnership ends, has been set. And so if they want to continue working together, there's a whole bunch of things that need to get ironed out and fixed. It's going to be a crazy episode. But before we get into that, I wanted to mention that my own startup, AIbox, has officially launched. We have our beta for our very first product, which is the AIbox Playground. So on the Playground, you have access to dozens of different AI models, all of the top AI models from DeepSeek, Google, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, OpenAI, XAI. We have all of the top image generators. We have Ideogram and OpenAI and Black Forest Labs. And the cool thing about the platform is that you essentially are able to chat with all of the different AI models on one platform. and you can switch between what model you use in there. So we have something called AI Box Default, which if you ask it a question or a prompt, it will determine what the best AI model is to answer that question. And in addition to that, you have tons of other models that you can use. The other cool thing is you have a button called Rerun Chat. So if you ask it a question or, an AI model, let's say you're chatting with Claude, it gives you a question to an answer. And you're like, I wish the tone was a little bit better. You can go ask ChatGPT, you can go ask Gemini, you can go ask XAI. And you can compare the responses side by side. So if you like one answer better than the other, you can go compare them side by side and you see all sorts of funny things. For example, I just asked it to tell me a joke. And you get very similar jokes, but you can rate the jokes between Anthropic and OpenAI against each other. Where I actually find this very useful is we have audio, so we have 11 labs in the software. So if you want to go and chat with, or get it to create some audio, like an audio file for you, I'll often go to 11 labs and they have different voices. So I'll test out multiple voices and compare them side by side. All sorts of cool stuff. Anyways, the link is in the description. You can check it out. Let's talk about what is happening over at Microsoft. So what's interesting with this negotiation here is that Microsoft has put in about, according to the Financial Times, they've put in about $13 billion into OpenAI so far. So they're definitely pretty much the key shareholder, and they are essentially the key holdout right now that OpenAI needs to approve a restructuring program plan that they have in place. So what's interesting is OpenAI really is in a pretty tough negotiation.
What up? You can join his AI box, AI Jaden Skuffer. You can join him.
OpenAI just released ChatGPT 4.1. Yes, not 4.6, 4.1. Today we're going to get into all the nitty-gritty details. It's pretty awesome stuff. Before we do, Jaden, why don't you tell them about our school community?
Every single week, Jamie and I record an incredible new video in our AI Hustle School community. It's the only place we post it. So if you want to get access to that, we essentially cover how we are currently growing and scaling our businesses with AI tools. So we show you the exact workflows. Today, Jamie and I recorded an entire video covering the workflows of how we are using AI and YouTube to generate tons of leads for Jamie's new real estate side hustle. And I cover all the different businesses that you could also use this strategy on, which is spoiler, everything. There's some really cool tools. We show you the exact websites we use, the exact workflows, the exact prompts. We'll share a screen and show you everything. If you have ever wanted to grow and scale your business or career with AI tools, we'd love to have you as a member of the AI Hustle School community. Over 50 videos are on there, I think, right now, Jamie. So we've created a ton. It's $19 a month. In the past, we had it at $100. If you join now at $19 a month, when we raise the price in the future, you'll be locked in at the lower rate and it will never raise on you. So we'd love to have you as a member. But let's kick off what is going on with OpenAI, which is absolutely crazy. So they just released their new model. It's called GPT 4.1. Now, a lot of people are complaining and saying they're confused because the last model OpenAI released was GPT 4.5. So it's like they go 4.5, then they go 4.1, and people are like, are we rolling back? And actually, it feels it oddly feels like they are rolling back, and to the point where literally Sam Altman tweeted about this, which was kind of funny. He said, how about we fix our model naming by this summer and everyone gets a few more months to make fun of us, which we very much deserve. Until then, ? So he's calling out the fact that, yes, we are making fun of them. This is ridiculous. We have GPT mini ultra, whatever, 4.5.1. It's just like, it's all over the place. It's crazy. Just please, for the love of all that is good, can we please just do like GPT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Why can't we just be like the iPhone? Come on. The iPhone, they understand branding. It's just the next iPhone, all right? You do it once a year, you upgrade the number. Even if it doesn't change a lot, you just add a new number, add a little marketing, add a couple software gizmos and gadgets on there, and you call it good. OpenAI does not believe in that. So anyways, they're obviously getting roasted for this, which is kind of funny, and Sam Altman literally came out and talked about it. The crazy thing that I would love to ask you about, Jamie, is they said this new model is already integrated into ChatGPT, and they've slowly been, essentially, whatever this new model is, they've slowly been releasing in ChatGPT over the last couple of weeks. So it's already in there. So you've actually already been using it. Anyone listening to this, if you use ChatGPT, you've already been using it. Jamie, have you noticed any improvements in ChatGPT over the last, let's say, 2 weeks than before? Or does it feel pretty incremental to you?
I have, actually. And I think, I shared this in our bonus content today, but my most recent workflow, actually, I generated a YouTube script, and then it said, would you like me to make you a Excel sheet so that you can repeat this with a different property in the future? So basically, it anticipated what would be helpful to me, generated me a fill-outable spreadsheet that I can then use for future videos and just plug in new properties, and then have basically infinite YouTube scripts for making content at scale. So I think it's definitely improving. I've really been impressed lately. Plus, the image generator, which we can't stop talking about. So
the image generator is insane. Okay, I got to read you the top 3 or 4 comments because they're kind of funny. Roasting Sam Altman, but then I'm going to get into. I promise I'll be explaining what the benchmarks say about this model, how much better it is, what it can do, and the API, which is kind of, in my opinion, as someone developing with these AI tools, the most exciting thing about this. Okay. Top comment to Sam Altman says, looking forward to getting GPT 3.7 Sonnet, aka just Claude. He said, someone said, is this 3.5 months from now or 4.1 months from now? It's kind of funny. Someone said, you should release a super vibey model on Sunday, GPT 4.20. Yeah, right? Throwing the O at the end. It's just crazy. They just have horrible naming conventions. And then, of course, someone's really mad. Someone says, it's not about your models, it's about your past posts. The AGI is around the corner, that you feel its vibes, etc. And then you roll back the numbering from 4.5 to 4.1. Why lying about AGI being close when it wasn't and you knew it? Oof. The heavy hitter. Someone's calling him out.
Hater.
Yeah, hater. Is it around the corner? It might still be around the corner. Now, the reason that the point that he's bringing up that a lot of people were complaining about is the fact that GPT 4.1 is apparently really good at coding. This is the benchmark that it really excels at. And some people would argue that it's worse at other areas. I think it actually did squeak out and kind of beat most of the other models as far as their benchmarks go. One interesting thing that they did launch with this GPT 4.1, and by the way, this is just the API, so all developers can start incorporating this into their tools. They also have a GPT 4.1 mini, which, they always make a mini model, and then they have one called a GPT 4.1 Nano. This is new. This is the first time that OpenAI has had a model that they're calling Nano. We've done the mini, we've done the 4, we've done the whatever. They say these models outperform GPT 4.0 and GPT 4.0 mini across the board with major gains in coding and instruction following. They also have larger context windows supporting up to 1 million context tokens. Okay, this is a shot across the bow to Google. I'll get into that in a second. They say they are able to better use that context with improved long context comprehension. They feature a refresh knowledge cutoff of June 2024. Okay, the refresh knowledge cutoff, June 2024. I do not care about. I don't think this should exist. I think they should just incorporate it with internet search, and then we never have to worry about knowledge cutoffs. Those are just my bane of my existence. Everything should just have the internet and up-to-date information, but another day, another dollar. That's just my complaint. Okay, 1 million tokens of context. Jamie, I want to get your input on this because this is crazy. This is something that Google was originally the big 1 million tokens of context that they were giving people. And what is a million tokens of context? That's I don't know. It could be somewhere between 300,000 to 500,000 words. So it is a lot of words that you could get in there pretty much. Tokens it's kind of a tricky calculation exactly. But point being, you can upload an insane amount of content and it can respond to you. Jamie, if you had 1 million, tokens of context window, is there anything you personally would use that for? Would you upload a PDF of a book? I guess, what could you imagine use cases being of having that much context window?
Personally, I can't think of anything except for coding, which I don't do. I mean, I picture, lines of code for an app or something, and it just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and text. To me, that's the only real use case for it. I did want to ask you, I'm confused by the whole like mini nano thing, because in my mind, that sounds like, okay, it's just a smaller, more light version of the full thing.
Yeah.
Why would you use that when you can just use the full thing? And when GPT 4.0 comes up every time as the first model, so why would I use a different one that's in my mind less or more inferior because it's mini or nano?
Yeah, I mean, I think for developers, there's certain times when the nano is useful. So if you're watching our screen, I'm screen sharing and showing the exact like metrics of where it ranks. So the GPT 4.1 nano is definitely, as far as latency goes, the fastest. So it will get you your response like super, super immediately. As far as its intelligence, quote unquote intelligence goes, it's definitely like you could say the dumbest. Now, it's probably a lot smarter than models we had like a year ago. The thing that I think is useful for the latency is if you're trying to do anything with like voice models or like live chat, so it feels like someone's actually talking to a person, or then like the latency could matter a lot, right? Like if you're sitting there chatting and it's like immediately can respond or immediately can jump in on a conversation, you're using kind of these like, let's say like a call center AI or like a sales AI, right? You don't want to have any pause. The latency makes a difference. There are tools that are kind of doing things with really low latency that are doing pretty good. I mean, we all have ChatGPT voice on our phone that is really good and has like very low latency. So, I mean, as far as that goes, I'm not really concerned about the latency. Some people want it extra fast, maybe, and that's kind of what it's delivering. I think the bigger question here is like, will they release a nano version every time? Like, is this going to be kind of a new thing? Because this is the first time they have a quote unquote nano version. I'd be curious if this is a new thing. And some people are also saying, I guess the last use case for nano, Jamie, would be on device. They call it on the edge, but on-device AI models. So like I might have, I don't know, some random little gizmo that I use for my cameras, and you could put literally the nano AI model like on this piece of hardware, and it just does one small function where if I push this button, it's gonna like tell me the time of day in Paris and like a few stats about like this camera I'm using. I don't know, you know what I mean? So like,
yeah, that makes
sense. On-device stuff that might be cool to some people. Sure. I don't know.
No, that makes sense. And I mean, you think about like someone like Apple who's trying to include AI, quote unquote, on their new operating system. Well, if they make it too powerful, it's going to burn your battery or just be really slow. So I could see, like you said, depending on the use case, using a lighter model. So thanks for clarifying.
And one thing I will say about this that they've said is, as far as the GPT 4.0 Nano, they said, it's our fastest and cheapest model. Oh yeah, that's one other thing. It's like insanely cheap. So really, really cheap and really, really fast. But is it the best? It's not the best, but it's better than older things we used to have. And they say it delivers exceptional performance at a small size with its 1 million token context window. So the cool thing here is they didn't just say, oh, like our best GPT 4.1 model has the 1 million token context window. They all three, the nano and the mini and the regular, all have this 1 million token context window. So to me, that is kind of cool. You could have like this really small nano, really fast, really cheap model, but it still can ingest a huge amount of data. Like you could still give it a whole PDF of like a book or something and ask it questions about the book and it'll be able to give it to you. So to me, that is pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Interesting.
Okay. I wanted to bring up a couple other features that this model has. So the first one being, this is much better at coding, like I mentioned. It scores 54.6% on the SWE benchmark. So this is up about 21% from GPT 4.0 and 26% over GPT 4.5. What's funny is GPT 4.5 was the model that most recently came out after 4.0, but it was like worse at coding. So this new model is better. Like somehow 4.1 is better than 4.5, but the 4.5 was literally worse than 4.0 at some things. I don't know. I think that's kind of funny. Instruction following, according to this new benchmark, it is better. It scores 38% better over it scores 38.3%. That's up 10% from GPT-4o. So that's a good jump. They don't compare it exactly to GPT 4.5, which is funny. So I wonder if it's actually that much better. And this is the other thing that I hate about OpenAI, by the way, is that they selectively compare. They're like, this one is 10.5% better than 4.0, but they're like, don't tell you how much better than 4.5 it is, but they're like, the coding one is 26% better than 4.5. And you're like, whoa, give us the numbers for all of them, even if it's worse, because they hold it, they leave it out, and then they don't tell you till the next update. Like when 4.5 came out, they're not sitting there telling you that, we're 3% worse than GPT-4o for coding, because then no one that codes is going to use the newest model. You know what I mean? That's whatever. Okay, I will give you one silver lining of awesomeness with this model, because I know I've been sort of pessimistic on a lot of things around this. The silver lining of awesomeness is that they have a benchmark that studies what they call long context, but it's called video MME. So this is a benchmark for multimedia long context. Multimedia mean like videos, images, multimedia, audio. So they say that this sets a new state-of-the-art result, doing 72% on the long, no subtitles category, which is 7% better than 4.0, which isn't that much better. But okay, the thing that I think is cool about it is it's a little improvement, but I like that they're starting to talk about this video MME model. We're getting to the point where they have their Sora video model out. Once we start talking about the benchmarks that include video, it makes me think they're going to put a bigger emphasis and hopefully drop an update to Sora that makes that video model as good as their new image model. Because I will be 100% honest, I think OpenAI for accessibility, instead of having to use Midjourney or something, OpenAI's image model is one of the best on the market. It's incredible. Video model is not. And so I want them to make that same leap they just did with their image, with their video. So when I see them starting to compare some of these video benchmarks, it gets me excited.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with the video thing. It seems like everyone's kind of caught up in a lot of ways, especially, the new one today, as of today, is Gemini. I just released a video generation model too. So yeah, I hope to see. I think they will. They keep surprising us and coming out with awesome new stuff. So I'm sure they will in the future. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a review. We really appreciate those, and we read every single one. And again, check out our school community if you want to grow your business and make a little extra cash with AI. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
ChatGPT gets 123 million visits a day, and most people still use it like a toy. Here is...
People are worried about things like privacy and losing their jobs to AI. How does a company like DeepMind build the trust of the general public?
What I want us to get to is a place where the assistant feels like it's working for you. It's your AI.
AI is scary. It's moving insanely fast, and from an outsider's perspective, it seems like there aren't nearly enough guardrails. And some of these concerns are actually legit. The ones that always stand out to me are those surrounding access. Rich people with rich access to the right tools. Or privacy. How do we trust these big companies with all the personal data? What does the world look like when everyone is recording everything and AI taking people's jobs?
One expert says a bloodbath. Half of entry-level white-collar jobs disappearing and 10 to 20% unemployment
could be 1 to 5 years.
Some of these concerns are less extreme than others. Take the classic Skynet example. It's a bit extreme, but they're all reasonable because some of the things you've heard me talk about before. First, the AI race. These huge companies with vast resources are trying to be the biggest and best in the world of AI. Are these companies prioritizing short-term profits over long-term safety? Second, even some of the scientists working on it don't totally understand what's going on under the hood. For example, some of these models exhibit what's called emergent behaviors. These are when they produce outputs that even the engineers who built these models had no idea what they can do. In this video, I want to look into whether or not AI is all doom and gloom, because if you listen to some of the analysts, news outlets, influencers, myself included from time to time, it's the beginning of the end, and it's impossible to put that genie back in the bottle. But is it? Helping me answer these questions is Demis Hassabis, a Nobel laureate, a knight, the CEO of Google DeepMind, and one of the most influential figures in AI. Companies like DeepMind are the parents of these AI children, and we're still in the phase where the parent is responsible when their kids mess up. So what steps are these companies taking to ensure they raise responsible, well-behaved young algorithms? It all starts with trying to understand what's going on inside the tech.
Can you sort of describe what's happening under the hood with an LLM, like demystify it for people a little bit?
I can try. At the basic level, what these LLM systems are trying to do is very simple in a way. They're just trying to predict the next word. And they do that by looking at a vast training set of language. The trick is not just to regurgitate what it's already seen, but actually generalize to something novel that you are now asking it.
LLMs predict the next word. For example, if you go to a standard large language model and give it the statement, the quick brown fox, it will likely complete the rest of that sentence with the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. But the modern chatbots that we use today are more like question and response machines, fine-tuned to be more like assistants. It's still doing the same thing, but instead of trying to finish the sentence, it's trying to answer your question that you put into the chat. But the trick here is that they don't want that chatbot to just find a paragraph from the original source material and parrot it back to you. They want it to come up with new information based on all of the information it already knows from within its training data. And if it doesn't already know something, it will either search the internet to try to find it for you, or in the case where it doesn't have internet access, it'll just make things up. And that is what we call hallucinations.
At I.O., you announced the new DeepThink, right? Which is so much more powerful, and it's topping all of the benchmarks for things like coding and math and all that. What happened under the hood that caused that new leap?
New techniques have been brought into the foundational model space where there's this called pre-training, where you sort of train the initial base model based on, all the training corpus. Then you try and fine-tune it with a bit of reinforcement learning feedback. And now there's this third part of the training, which is we sometimes call inference time training or thinking, where you've got the model and you give it many cycles to sort of go over itself and go over its answer before it outputs the answer to the user. And what DeepThink's about is actually taking that to the maximum and giving it loads more time to think, and actually even doing parallel thoughts and then choosing the best one. And, we pioneered that kind of work in the past, actually nearly a decade ago now, with AlphaGo and our games playing programs, because in order to be good at games, you need to do that kind of planning and thinking. And now we're trying to do it in a more general way here.
What's really cool here is how Demis is highlighting how much of an effort engineers and scientists are putting into making AI more and more accurate and removing the chance for hallucinations. AI started with the next word prediction, like the example of the quick brown fox we gave earlier. Then it evolved to test time compute, where the AI model would actually spend the time thinking through its responses, and you're actually able to see this happen in real time. And now, the latest evolution is what Demis just talked about, which is parallel thoughts. Now the LLMs are thinking through a ton of different potential responses all at once, instead of focusing on just one at a time. It will then pick from all of those responses, or even combine responses in order to give you the best possible output. The ultimate goal here is to put the most accurate and helpful responses in front of you.
You've mentioned that the long-term goal is to sort of let these AIs have like a world model. Can you sort of explain what you mean by a world model, and what does that open up to us?
I think for a model, what we mean by a world model is a model that can understand not just language, but also audio, images, video, all sorts of input, any input. And then potentially also output. The reason that's important is if you want a system to be a good assistant, it needs to understand the physical context around you. Or if you want robotics to work in the real world, the robot needs to understand the physical environment.
What sort of new things do you think that'll open up to people once they have that ability?
I think robotics is one of the major areas. I think that's what's holding back robotics today. It's not so much the hardware, it's actually the software intelligence.
Right.
The robots need to understand the physical environment. I think that's also what will make today's sort of nascent assistant technology and things like you saw with Project Astra that we show in Gemini Live, for that to work really robustly, you want as accurate as world model as you can.
So that's our glimpse under the hood. LLMs are imperfect models that are constantly being refined to become more and more accurate, with the eventual goal of becoming complete world models that help AI understand what's going on around it in the real physical world. But what's still unclear is how this will translate into practical applications that will significantly improve society without a lot of the downsides everyone is fearful of.
So you've mentioned things like AI will be able to most likely in the future solve things like room temperature superconductors and more energy efficiency and curing diseases. Out of the sort of things that are out there that it could potentially solve, what do you think the sort of closest on the horizon is?
Well, as you say, we're very interested and we actually work on many of those topics, right? Whether they're mathematics or material science like superconductors, we work on fusion, renewable energy, climate modeling. But I think the closest, if you think about, and probably most near term, is building on our AlphaFold work. We spun out a company called Isomorphic Labs to do drug discovery, rethink the whole drug discovery process from first principles with AI. And normally, it takes, the rule of thumb is around a decade.
Have a big idea? It's time to make it real. With Crazy Domains, registering your domain name is super easy.
And normally, it takes, the rule of thumb is around a decade for a drug go from sort of identifying why a disease is being caused to actually coming up with a cure for it and then finally being available to patients. It's a very laborious, very hard, painstaking and expensive process. Right. I would love to be able to speed that up to a matter of months, maybe even weeks one day. And
because the rate at which AI gathers and analyzes data is so much quicker. The bottom line is we'll get better drugs and treatments way faster. But here's where it gets really wild. In the beginning, AI was being used to complete human tasks faster. Now we're starting to see AI training AI, which, when you boil it down, is in a way AI completing AI tasks faster. This is where things really pick up.
You guys just announced Alpha Evolve recently, which looks amazing, right? It's an AI that essentially can help you come up with new algorithms, right? How close are we to AIs that are sort of designing new AIs to improve the AIs, and then we start entering the cycle?
Yes, I think it's really cool breakthrough piece of work where we're combining kind of, in this case, evolutionary methods with LLMs to try and get them to sort of invent something new. And I think there's going to be a lot of promising work actually combining different methods in computer science together with these foundation models like Gemini that we have today. So I think it's a great, very promising path to explore. Just to reassure everyone, it still has humans in the loop, scientists in the loop to kind of, it's not directly improving Gemini, it's using these techniques to improve the AI ecosystem around it, slightly better algorithms, better chips that the system's trained on versus the algorithm that it's using itself.
This is really important because it seems like Demis is hinting at humans eventually being removed from the equation. AI gets better at training AI and no longer needs humans to be involved in its development. So where do we fit in? The answer to that lies in the end goal of all of these personal assistants and agents.
AI agents, they've been sort of a big talk in the AI community recently. And how far off do you think we are to being able to give an agent like a week's worth of work and it goes and executes that for us?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the dream, to kind of offload some of our mundane admin work and also to make things like much more enjoyable for us. You maybe have a trip to Europe or Italy or something, and you want the most amazing itinerary sort of built out for you and then booked. I love our assistants to be able to do that. I hope we're maybe a year away or something from that. I think we still need a bit more reliability in the tool use and again, the planning and the reasoning of these systems, but they're rapidly improving. So as you saw with the latest Project Mariner.
What do you think the biggest bottleneck is right now to sort of getting that long-term agent?
I think it's just the reliability of the reasoning processes and the tool use, right? And making sure, because each one, if it has a slight chance of an error, if you're doing like 100 steps, even a 1% error doesn't sound like very much, but it can compound to something pretty significant over 100, 50 or 100 steps. And a lot of the really interesting tasks you might want these systems to help you with will probably need multi-step planning and action.
Removing the mundane from our day-to-day sounds wonderful, but it also comes with the inevitable questions about jobs being replaced by AI. This is part of a broader series of public concerns surrounding things like privacy, data security, and job loss that all big tech companies are facing today. DeepMind's association to Google comes with some of the baggage, so that begs the question:
how does a company like DeepMind build the trust of the general public that you can trust them with this kind of technology?
Well, look, I think we've tried to be, and I think we are very responsible, trying to be responsible role models actually with these frontier technologies. Partly that's showing what AI can be used for good, like medicine and biology. I mean, what better use could there be for AI than to cure, terrible diseases?
Right.
So there's always been my number one thought there. But there's other things, where it can help with climate, energy, and so on that we've discussed. But I think we've got to, companies, is incumbent on them to behave thoughtfully and responsibly with this powerful technology.
Mm-hmm.
We take privacy extremely seriously at Google, always have done. And I think, most of the things we've been discussing with the assistants, they would be opt-in. They'll make the universal assistant much more useful for you,
right.
But you would be, intentionally opting into that very clearly with all the transparency around that. And what I want us to get to is a place where the assistant feels like it's working for you. It's your AI, right? Your personal AI,
right.
And it's working on your behalf. And I think that's the mode. That's at least the vision that we have and that we want to deliver, and that we think users and consumers will want.
One of the things that you guys also demoed at I/O that I got a chance to actually test out a little bit earlier was the Android XR glasses,
yes.
And those were absolutely mind-blowing when I tried them the first time. And so I guess the flip side of this sort of privacy thing is if everybody's sort of walking around wearing glasses that have microphones and cameras on them, how do we ensure that the sort of privacy of the other people around us is secure?
I think that's a great question. I mean, first thing is to make it very obvious that it's on or off in these types of things, in terms of the user interfaces and the form factors. I think that's number one. But I also think this is the sort of thing where we'll need sort of a societal agreement and norms about how do we all want, if we have these devices, they're popular and they're useful, how do we want to, what are the kind of the guardrails around that? And I think that's why we're only in trusted tester at the moment, is partly the technology is still developing, but also we need to think about the societal impacts like that ahead of time.
So basically, they don't know yet, which is interesting and fair all at the same time, because ultimately when Demis mentions the social agreements, he's talking about government regulations and legislation. AI is moving so fast and we're all busy figuring out all the other stuff going on in the world. We haven't, as a society, stopped and really thought about these implications. And
this little known tip I'm about to share with you will help you save thousands of dollars when you buy your next vehicle. Whether it's a modern electric...
And we need to, because given the speed, we're kind of running out of time. But it makes sense that it's moving so fast. AI is exciting, it's cool, and the benefits that it promises will change everyone's life for the better. Just listen to Demis talk about what he's excited for in the near future. And remember, this is the man who is on the absolute forefront of this technology.
So I've got one last question here. It's kind of a two-parter question. What excites you most about what you can do with AI today? And what excites you most about what we'll be able to do in the very near future?
Well, today I think it's the AI for science work is always been my passion, and I'm really proud of what AlphaFold and things like that have empowered. They've become a standard tool now in biology and medical research. Over 2 million researchers around the world use it in their incredible work. In the future, I'd love a system to basically enrich your life and actually protect a little bit, work for you on your behalf to protect your mind space and your own thinking space from all of the digital world that's bombarding you the whole time. And I think actually one of the answers to that is that we're all feeling in the modern world with social media and all these things is maybe a digital assistant working on your behalf that only at the times that you want surfaces the information rather than interrupting you at all times of the day.
The thing about this technology is that it's supposed to be the technology that gets us away from the bombardment of technology. We're sitting at our computers and on our phones getting flooded by negativity and toxicity on social media every minute of the day. It's refreshing to hear someone like Demis, who's in one of the best positions on earth to build this future, talk about how the importance of AI is critical for our mental and physical well-being. That we should be able to cut out the mundane, remove the toxicity, and focus on the things we really want to do. Travel the world, play guitar, pick up that hobby that we never found time for, or most importantly, spend time with friends and family. In the end, after speaking to Demis, I really felt like it wasn't all doom and gloom, that super intelligent and talented people are actually behind the wheel, and that they have a firmer grasp than most people think they do. I want to thank my guest, Demis Hassabis, and the whole team at Google DeepMind for the incredible conversation. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks so much for nerding out with me. really cool AI apps for our computers and directly in the browser all the time, but one thing I rarely hear about is the really cool mobile apps that are AI enabled. So in this video, I'm going to break down 21 free AI mobile apps that you can use. Now, out of these 21 apps, 100% of them work on iOS because, well, that's what I have. And 2 of them don't actually work on Android, but the 19 others that I'm going to show you do work on Android. And don't worry, I'll let you know when I'm talking about an app that doesn't work on Android. My creative director, John, and I spent hours testing tons and tons of AI mobile apps, and these are the ones that we decided are the ones that you should know about. And once again, these are all free apps. So there are quite a few other AI apps that are premium. You can only get them to do cool stuff if you pay. I'm excluding those from this video. We'll get to those in a future video. For this one, let's just stick with the free stuff, starting with the most obvious being ChatGPT. ChatGPT has 2 modes. They've got ChatGPT Plus, which uses GPT-4, and just the standard ChatGPT free version, which uses GPT 3.5. Now, if you've used ChatGPT on your computer, this one pretty much operates in the same way. But the one major difference about the mobile app that I really love is that you can have chats with it, similar to how you'd have chats with Siri, and well, it's quite a bit better than Siri. Now, if you're using 3.5, it's not going to browse the internet. It's only going to give you information from its training data, but it's still really cool to have a conversation with it. Simply hit the little headphone button to the right of the message box here, and then you can have conversations with it. Tell me a story about a silly rabbit.
Once upon a time, there was a silly rabbit named Benny. Benny loved to hop around the forest, but he had a peculiar habit of trying to jump over every single tree stump he came across.
And there you go. There's the story that it generated for us, and then it jumps straight back to the familiar chat box where we could actually read the story if we wanted. Now, I cut the story a little bit short because I wanted to keep the pace of the video going, but if you want to read the story, go ahead and pause the video here. Now, while we're on the topic of chatbots, I really like the Pi chatbot. The Pi chatbot comes from a company called Inflection AI, whose CEO, Mustafa Suleyman, used to be a part of Google's DeepMind. Now, Pi is designed to be a lot more conversational, a lot more personal, maybe a little less informational. In the account settings, it actually has some really good, really realistic voices. My personal favorite is voice number 6.
Hey there, great to meet you. I'm Pi, your personal AI.
Once you've got it working, press the little phone icon next to the Talk with Pi box, and you can have a conversation with this one just like we did with ChatGPT. One of the fun things John and I were doing was having it explain slang to us.
Want to break into cybersecurity but don't have experience? The Google Cybersecurity Certificate uses real-world.
The fun things John and I were doing was having it explain slang to us. What does yeet mean?
Yeet is a slang term with multiple meanings, but it generally expresses excitement, triumph, or the act of throwing something. Here are the main ways it's used. As a verb, to discard something with a lot of force. A say, she yeeted the ball into the trash can.
Once again, I did cut off the dialogue just to keep the pace of this video moving, but if you want to see the response, you can go ahead and pause the video. One thing that I also really like about Pi is that the voices are kind of soothing. I can hear these voices in like a Headspace sort of app. So if you ever wanted to make some meditations or something like that, I would say Pi would be the perfect tool for that. Pi also has the ability to search the web, so you can ask it questions and it will search the web to find answers if it needs to. What teams are currently still in the NFL playoffs?
With the 2023-24 NFL playoffs in full swing, only 4 teams remain in the running for the Super Bowl. They are Detroit Lions, NFC, San Francisco 49ers, NFC, Kansas City Chiefs, AFC, Baltimore Ravens, AFC. It's shaping up to be an exciting finish to the season. Are you rooting for any of these teams?
No, I don't follow football. Another thing that I find really interesting about Pi is its use of breath and ums and things like that. Instead of just long, awkward pauses, a lot of times it will use these ums and the sort of breathing sound to fill in the gaps to give it this realism that I really, really enjoy. Next up, let's talk about Perplexity. Now, Perplexity does have a free model and a paid model, but using the free model, it's really amazing for doing research. It's a really good replacement for something like Google search if you just need information about a topic. What are the best free mobile AI apps. Now, this one doesn't actually respond with a voice, but it does bring us to a response page. The best free AI apps for mobile in 2023, Lensa, Replica, ChatGPT. These apps cover a range of functionalities, etc. And then it gives us some extra questions to ask, as well as cites some sources of where it got the information that it's sharing. Another thing that I really like about the Perplexity app is that it's got this Discover tab down at the very bottom. If I click on this, it will actually suggest some interesting topics to deep dive into. For example, the Messi Ronaldo era ends. What's that all about? I could click on that. It's got some sources available for me and then explains why this era in football/soccer is now over. Now, I believe Perplexity uses a handful of different AI models inside of the platform. And if you upgrade to the paid plan, then you can even use GPT-4 and Claude 2.1. According to this tweet here that came out at the time of this recording, Perplexity even now has Code Llama 7DB Instruct available within its API. So I'm not sure if it's available inside the mobile app or not, but they are using a combination of different AI models. I believe the main model it uses is GPT 3.5, unless you upgrade, and then you get additional model options. But let's go ahead and just ask Perplexity. What large language model does Perplexity use? Even in Perplexity's response, it does say the specific large language model used by Perplexity AI is not mentioned in the available search results. And I can't talk about AI chat models without talking about character AI. This one is just fun. Using character AI, you can talk to any character, real or fictional, and that AI character will actually believe it's the person you're talking to. Like this conversation that I had with Mark Zuckerberg. I asked him, "What's your middle name?" "My middle name is Edward. It's a family name." I said, "No, it's not. I apologize for my error. My middle name is actually David, not Edward. I am human, so I make mistakes sometimes. Don't let it happen again. I promise it won't. I will ensure that I am more careful and accurate next time. Are you really a lizard? I promise you I am not a lizard. I am a human, born and raised. I eat human food like hot dogs and pizza, and I enjoy human activities like walking on 2 feet. I am not a lizard." That's exactly what a lizard would say. It's also exactly what a human would say. "I swear I have nothing to do with the lizard community. We don't have any kind of pact." Interesting conversation, Zuck. I've also had fictional conversations with Tim Cook on here, as well as Deadpool, because why not? There's not a ton of practical use cases for this one. It's just fun. Even my kids like getting on this one and creating characters and having random conversations with them. It's just actually kind of a blast to screw around with fake AI characters, to be honest. Next up, Socratic. This one's actually by Google, and you can take pictures of things and it will analyze the pictures and help you solve problems from the pictures. So, for example, I got my camera on right now. See, there's my computer. Look, hey. If I take this sticky note that I just created and I put a math problem on it, like 14 times 268 to the third power plus 12, and I take a quick snapshot of it. Let me see if I can get it in focus here. You can see it found the math problem. I'm going to go ahead and make sure it grabs the whole thing, and then I'm going to click go. And see, it found the math problem, 14 times 268 to the third power plus 12. You can see it gave me the solution, but if I click solve here, it actually breaks down the step-by-step method that it used to solve it. So it did 14 times 268, which is 3752, multiplied it to the third power, got this giant number here, then added 12 to get the final result. If I press the little search icon down at the bottom, it brings up a question box and I can ask any question. For example, how deep is the deepest part of the ocean? And
why is Amazon paying me $600 a day? Because I use Amazon AI. I'm going to show you a way to potentially make money by pairing Amazon with the power of AI without ever selling physical products. And I promise you've never heard about this before. I just created some simple digital products, then I put them up on Amazon, and it was so exciting. The first time I tried it, I made $14, and I was like, oh my goodness, this actually works. Hi, I'm Carla Marie, and the coolest part is
any question. For example, how deep is the deepest part of the ocean? And I get a response, as well as some additional explanations here about the world's oceans. I get related videos, I get Q&A, and I get more info from the web, all in a single app. I can also scroll up from the bottom when I'm on the app and see all of the various topics that I can dig in with Socratic. And this one's 100% free. I don't even believe they offer a paid option if you want to. Next up, let's look at AI Writer. This is a really quick and easy tool to write up quick messages for various use cases, and
The cool thing is it's got a whole bunch of prompt templates that you can start with. So if I click on choose a prompt template here, you can see all of the templates that are already available inside of this. These are beginnings of prompts that you can use. Write an SMS text message, write an essay about, write an email to. So I can say, write an email to my boss about taking next week off. Click these little arrows. We've got some preferences down here. I've already added some profile information here. We can choose a text length, short, medium, or long. I've noticed that using short is the best because even short still writes pretty long messages. And then we've got writing tone. I'm going to go ahead and use persuasive. Let's persuade my boss to give me the week off. Let's click generate. And just like that, it writes me an email that I can use to send to my boss to persuade him to give me next week off. You can also write replies. You input the initial message that somebody gave you and have it automatically write a reply for you so you don't have to think of how to reply. And you
can come and get the he can come here. Met Wolfe.
Top you are using. Reaction videos differ from gaming videos. They don't require the high-end PC. I just use this MacBook to record. Then set up the camera. Usually I just use the webcam on the laptop itself. Don't forget to check the angle of the camera. Otherwise, you'll get something like this, and this. As for the mic, I just use this lav mic since it's portable and I can... How to make a reaction video. YouTube channel ideas. Reaction videos are so relatable that they're one of the best ways to build an audience and succeed as a video creator. Just take a look at this TikTok reaction.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So you're already using ChatGPT, and while that's awesome, there is one little problem. You're now...
Hi. So for instance, let's say you want to create a presentation on the evolution of AI. Enter the text prompt in this new interface and then submit. And then in a matter of seconds, it will generate the presentation for you, including the actual content, any AI generated images, and any stock photos that you may use as well. Every single layout right here is quite different, but it's not just limited to presentations. Here's an example of a beginner's guide to artificial intelligence, so kind of like a 1 or 2 page document. Here's a houseplant care guide. Here's one that I prompted it to produce a Facebook ad for an insulated bottle. What's more is it can even code for you, such as this interactive geometry vocabulary matching game. So you can see, what is a radius? This radius, you click that, and then a straight line from the center of the circle. Or what about this interactive ancient civilizations timeline where you can go through each of the dates right here and it will give you a little summary of what's going on there. And of course, it can generate text for you, such as this business roadmap for tech startups. And because it is all within this Canva ecosystem, what you can do with these designs or interactive games that you create is use it in a design, and then you'll be taken to this familiar interface that is known as Canva. And then you would continue designing it the way you want, editing any of the text you want. And then let's say you want to start publishing it. This is what it's going to look like on a real kind of browser. Now, to get started with Canva AI, you actually have access to it even if you have a free account. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat there, and I'll explain it right here. On its pricing and plans page, you can see that you can generate a design with Canva AI. On a free plan, you only get 50 credits in total for the lifetime of your account. This does not reset every single month, just like the Pro, Team, and Enterprise plans. You can see that you get 150 credits per month on the Pro plan. And from my understanding, credits work by generation. So each time you enter a text prompt to generate a certain AI design or interactive game of any sort, then that will be deducted from your total credits. Now, if you do want a full 30-day trial of Canva Pro, feel free to use the link in the description box below and sign up using that link. To access Canva AI, they've made it quite obvious on the left navigation anywhere on your dashboard, and you simply click on Canva AI, and then you'll see the text prompt area to begin with. So right off the bat, you can enter the text prompt, whatever you want to generate using Canva AI. You can take a look down bottom to get some inspiration on what you can actually design with AI. So let's run through some of these. You can write a blog post about caring for houseplants. You can code a pricing calculator. You can generate images just like you would with any kind of generative AI tool these days. You can create invitations, interactive historical timelines just like I did, write a blog post, create social media content, write documents, and much more. Let's head back to the text prompt area because right here is a few options that you can choose from. You can right away click on create an image, and then that will filter the images and the prompts that you could potentially use. But let's close that. You can also go code for me, and then you can see the examples once again, now filtered by code. Not only can you enter a prompt based on text, you can also use your microphone to chat with the AI. In addition, you can add some reference images that you may want the AI to look at so that it can replicate it or produce a different style or other forms and variations of it. But let's go ahead with this, create a presentation on the evolution of AI. Click on submit, and then you'll see a window that looks kind of like ChatGPT and other LLMs. You will need to wait a few seconds. It really depends on what you are generating. For instance, if you are wanting to produce some code to make a game, then that will take significantly longer. But here it is. It took about, let's say, 10 to 15 seconds. And then from here, what you can do is open it up. That will open up a right side window where you can browse through the results. And from here, you can do things like change the color and the theme. But if you do want fine tuning settings, you do need to go to the main Canva editor by clicking on use Canva editor. Now, what's great about Canva AI is that it's all chat based and uses natural language. So you can go ahead, continue on, make tweaks and refinements by asking right here. You can get it to regenerate by clicking on more designs, and then that will come up with entirely different designs. And here we go. As you saw, quite straightforward and easy to use. However, because Canva AI is quite, I'd say, relatively new, it's not perfect. So there will be flaws, there may be errors, and it may not produce what you want it to do in comparison to using more established AI tools like ChatGPT. For instance, I tried generating a Facebook ad for this insulated bottle for a brand called Insu Bottle. I just made that up. And it's a fully stainless steel, durable, and keeps hot water hot for up to 12 hours and cold water up to 18 hours. And I could have prompted this maybe better so that it can actually put it on the ad, but it did not quite produce, I'd say, some of the things that I wanted it to do, and maybe elaborate further on some of the things that I've entered here. So something like even stainless steel, it did not quite put it in any of these ads, quite generic. It did include the 12-hour, 18-hour thing. Also, they may not look high quality. I mean, take a look at this image here, and this one here doesn't really even show a stainless steel bottle. But of course, all of what the AI has produced can be easily edited by refining it either right here or using the full Canva editor. Now, let's take this exact prompt and put it into ChatGPT image generation, and I'll show you the difference. So here we are in ChatGPT, and I'm just going to get it to design a Facebook ad, exact same prompt, and we're going to create the image and click on submit. And here's what ChatGPT image generation has produced. You can see it looks really professional, and I could literally take this and start using it as a Facebook ad. You can make refinements, of course, maybe put in your brand there and an actual photo of your bottle. So when you compare it to what Canva AI produced, it's not as good. Another limitation that I came across is that it can't produce anything that you want. Let's say a 20-page guide on the beginner's guide to AI. It won't produce this exact thing, and it definitely can't do 20 pages yet, but it can produce something like a 1 or 2 page document like this. So you can see that this is what it produced, and it's not exactly 20 pages long. Let's take it to Canva editor, and you can see that it's just limited to a number of pages. I mean, if you save this as a PDF, it is about 3 pages if you're not including this last paragraph. Also, the designs do look pretty much the same with a top header here, and you've got this right here as well. In general, there's not much variation when it comes to producing documents. What I would say is that it does produce presentations really well with different variations and layouts too. All in all, Canva AI can prove beneficial, especially if you want a way to create your drafts and have a starting point or a foundation so that you're not left, starting from scratch. Canva, however, does offer Canva templates, so they can start with that. But if you want something more relevant, specific to what you actually want to produce, this, by far is a better way to do it. But in saying that, Canva AI is relatively new, so there definitely will be a lot more progress and improvements along the way, helping you produce better and bigger designs. But for now, let me know your thoughts on Canva AI and whether you're using it right now or whether this is the first time you actually heard about Canva AI. I'd love to know your thoughts. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to sharing the next training with you.
Why do I sabotage everything that I truly want? It's all due to something called law of sustainment. In psychology, the law of sustainment. There's got some emojis in there. This is solid. Obviously, you don't want to overdo it with emojis, but this is something to
Shit. What's this shit?
consider. Financial analysis. Hey everyone, Kevin here. Today, we're going to look at the 5 best AI video generators. These tools let you turn simple text into stunning visuals, and many of these are free to try, so you could follow along. I partnered with Zapier on this video, so let's check these out. First up, we have Synthesia. This is a powerful AI video generator that lets you create videos using realistic AI avatars and voiceovers in over 140 different languages. Synthesia offers a free plan, so you can test it out. You get 3 minutes of video generation per month. And I know that's not very much. However, it is enough to get a feel for whether you want to shell out $18 per month for the starter plan. With free, you get 9 AI avatars, and if you go with one of the paid plans, you get lots more video generation and also many more different avatars to choose from. Once you finish signing up, you'll land here in the main Synthesia workspace. And building an AI avatar video is very similar to pulling together a PowerPoint presentation. Right up on top, you can start a new video from a template or from scratch. You can also turn files and links into a video. You can dub a video or translate a video into another language. And over here, you could even turn a PowerPoint presentation into a video. Let's test this out with just a blank canvas. Let's click on this option. Here, we see lots of different templates with AI avatars. And keep in mind, we can customize all of these avatars, and we can also specify what the avatar should say. Right about top, let's go with this new one right here. Let's click on Use Template. This drops us into the editor that you can use to build out your AI avatar video. Over on the left-hand side, you can add additional scenes. This is kind of like PowerPoint, where you could add additional slides to your presentation. Here we see a few different examples. I'll click out of this. Over here, we have the main scene. You could click within the scene and you could edit any of these different objects. For example, I could edit the text. Over here, I could select this shape. Up on top, you can also add additional objects to your slide. For example, you could add another avatar. You could add text, shapes, media, and you can even record your screen. When you select any of the objects in your scene, for example, I selected the AI avatar, over on the right-hand side, we have all the different properties related to this avatar. Let's say that maybe I want to change out the avatar. Here I could click on Alex, and I can see all the different options. I'm on a free plan, so I'm limited by what I can choose, but you get a feel for all the different options that are here. For now, I'll stick with Alex. And here we could adjust other properties as well. Now down at the bottom, I can also see the talk track that the avatar will say within this scene. So over here, let's delete the text that's just placed here, and let me type in my own. Welcome to the Kevin Cookie Company. I'll have Alex say this. Now up on top, we can preview her saying this text, or I could also generate it where it'll turn this into a video and she'll actually speak this text. Let's test that out. Once the video is all done generating, let's preview how it turned out.
Welcome to the Kevin Cookie Company, where we believe that every great day starts with a cookie. We're thrilled to have you on board as part of our growing team.
Let's now take this to the next level by automating video creation using Synthesia. Zapier connects Synthesia to thousands of apps. You can get started with Zapier for free at the link below. You can set it up so when you get a new lead in an app like HubSpot, Zapier detects this and then triggers Synthesia to generate a personalized video. Then, Zapier can connect to your email and automatically send this video to the lead. The lead gets a customized video from you without needing your involvement. This isn't something that you could do with just HubSpot or just Synthesia. It's the connection that Zapier makes between all of these different apps. With Zapier, you can connect apps like Synthesia to Trello, ClickUp, Google Sheets, Monday.com, and thousands more, even if the apps weren't designed to speak.
Okay, I can't listen to it anymore. I don't know why. This is it's doing it wrong, bro. It's doing it wrong. Anyway, you have to come to Kevin Stenberg. Yeah, Kevin Stedberg. You have to come to him to get what you want. Last one I'm doing.
OpenAI to retain deleted ChatGPT conversations following court order, SiliconANGLE. Bye. OpenAI will retain users' deleted ChatGPT conversations to comply with a recently issued court order. Brad Lightcap, the artificial intelligence developer's chief operating officer, disclosed the move in a late Thursday blog post. When users delete ChatGPT prompts and the chatbot's responses, OpenAI usually retains the data for 30 days before permanently erasing it. Going forward, the AI provider will stop discarding the logs. OpenAI will likewise retain many of the requests sent to its application programming interfaces, along with the output generated in response. Not all of the ChatGPT developers' users are affected. OpenAI won't apply the new data retention policy to companies that use its API under a so-called zero data retention agreement. According to Lightcap, the enterprise and edu editions of ChatGPT are exempt as well. The court order that prompted the new data retention policy was issued last month in connection with a high-profile copyright lawsuit against OpenAI. In 2023, the New York Times waived ChatGPT developer for using its content without permission. The paper alleges that OpenAI and Microsoft Corp., one of the AI provider's most important partners, incorporated millions of articles into their model training datasets. The lawsuit further charged that ChatGPT outputted Times content verbatim without attribution. Several other publications filed similar copyright lawsuits a few months later. Those claims were subsequently combined with the Times lawsuit into a single case. In March, a federal court dismissed parts of the lawsuit but ruled that it can proceed to trial. A few weeks ago, the judge presiding over the case ordered OpenAI to retain users' deleted prompts and prompt responses. The ruling stemmed from concerns that discarding the data might delete evidence relevant for the case. According to an OpenAI filing, the court determined that customers who use ChatGPT for infringing purposes, e.g., to get around the Times' paywall, they might be more likely to delete all the searches to cover their tracks. OpenAI stated that the data it must retain to comply with the ruling will be stored separately in a secure system. The ChatGPT developer says the system's contents can be accessed only to meet legal obligations. Only a small, audited OpenAI legal and security team would be able to access this data as necessary to comply with our legal obligations, OpenAI stated. This data is not automatically shared with the New York Times or anyone else. It's locked under a separate legal hold, meaning it's securely stored and can only be accessed under strict legal protocols. OpenAI added that it plans to appeal the ruling. Focal photo, Flickr. A message from John Ferrier, co-founder of SiliconANGLE. Your vote of support is important to us and it helps us keep the content free. One click below supports our mission to provide free, deep, and relevant content. Join our community on YouTube. Join the community that includes more than 15,000 #QBalumni experts, including Amazon.com CEO Andy Jassy, Dell Technologies founder and CEO Michael Dell, Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger, and many more luminaries and experts. Thank you. Beyond Walled Gardens, How Snowflake Navigates New Competitive Dynamics, SiliconANGLE. Breaking Analysis B. Our research indicates that data platform wars have entered an entirely new phase. One where open data is no longer a marketing slogan and governance catalogs are now the new control point.
We see this as the first of several structural changes to the software industry. The next price of entry we think will be an emerging layer originally conceived by Jeff Moore, systems of intelligence, or SOIs, which we believe will become a high-value piece of real estate in the artificial intelligence-optimized software stack. In this breaking analysis, and just a few days removed from Snowflake Summit 2025, we unpack how Snowflake has moved from steward of its pristine proprietary data platform to orchestrating an ecosystem in a world that enables any compute engine to operate on any open data format. Last week, we framed the company's Rubicon moment, meaning the pivot from analytic warehouse to enabler of intelligent data apps. Introduction. This year, Snowflake doubled down on its simplicity message, bringing that ethos into AI and, in addition and importantly, extending its governance model further into the open data ecosystem, syncing permissions with Polaris for external iceberg tables and adding OpenFlow for data pipelines outside the Snowflake walled garden. Taken together, these moves signal a deliberate strategy to ease storage lock-in and let customers own and control their data independent of any compute engine, something customers are demanding, while tightening its grip on the policy and metadata control plane. At the same time, Snowflake is bringing conversational and powerful AI and harmonizing data with a metric layer called semantic views to become the trusted source feeding agentic applications. As well, Snowflake is improving its engine to not only serve traditional analytic workload customers, but also improve its position for data engineering workloads and data science personas. Your embarrassing Meta AI prompts might be public. Here's how to check ZDNET. If you use the Meta AI app, be careful you're not accidentally sharing anything personal. Think that's something you'd never do. Tell that to the many people who are apparently exposing their private prompts on the app. Recently, users have been reporting that the app's Discover feed has been filled with people sharing posts that are clearly not intended for the public. Sensitive medical issues, admissions of crimes, relationship advice with revealing details, and more. Also, forget AGI, Meta is going after superintelligence now. When I downloaded the app to see for myself, posts seemed fairly normal at first. A bit weird, but normal. I saw AI-generated images and videos of fantasy scenes, landscapes, animals, and the occasional political figure. But then, about 20 seconds in, I saw a photo request for somewhat adult pictures under an account with someone's real name. I noticed the photo had quite a few comments, so I tapped to see more. The comments were follow-up queries from the person asking for progressively more adult scenarios, and eventually comments from hundreds of people mocking this person who almost certainly didn't know this was public. Meta did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Also, Sam Altman says the singularity is imminent. Here's why. As I scrolled, more than 95% of the posts I saw were pictures or videos people wanted to share. However, I would see an occasional post that probably wasn't, someone asking for job interview help with details about the specific job, someone asking for details about what constituted extortion, and someone drafting an apology letter to their husband. I also saw people asking Meta AI to restyle photos that didn't seem to be intended for the public, too. Newsletters. ZDNET Tech Today. ZDNET's Tech Today newsletter is a daily briefing of the newest, most talked about stories, 5 days a week. Subscribe, see all. Other people have seen much worse. I didn't see anything wildly embarrassing, but I probably would have had I kept scrolling. Fortunately, there's not a search button on the app, so you can't go specifically looking for people's accidental shares. So what's going on? How people are accidentally sharing prompts to Meta AI. Asking Meta AI a prompt doesn't make it public, but there are two problems specific to the Meta AI app that make this an issue. One is that when you create your Meta AI account, it defaults to your Instagram name, so many people have their actual names and pictures on their profiles. Also, your favorite AI chatbot is lying to you all the time. A second is that everything is public by default on the Meta AI app. It does have a social media component, so the ability to share and be seen should be expected, but it seems like something you should have to opt into. Sharing something publicly is a two-step process involving tapping, share, and then, post. Still, people are clearly accidentally posting prompts they almost certainly don't want public. The most likely explanation seems to be that people are intentionally clicking, post, but think it's some sort of personal journal. How to make sure you're not sharing personal prompts on Meta AI. If you're using the Meta AI app and don't plan on sharing anything publicly, here's how you can make sure you don't accidentally do so. Tap your profile picture on the top right corner of the app. Tap Data and Privacy. Tap Manage Your Information. Tap Make all your prompts visible to only you. From there, you'll see a notification asking if you want to make all your prompts, including already posted ones, only visible to you. Choose Apply to All. There's also an option to delete any posts you've already made. Get the morning's top stories in your inbox each day with our Tech Today newsletter. Six new ways ChatGPT projects supercharges your AI chats. How to try it, ZDNET. One cool ChatGPT feature you might not know about is projects. With ChatGPT projects, you can organize all the chats, files, and other content for a specific topic into a project folder. The goal is to bring order to your chats so you can more easily find and work with particular ones. And now, OpenAI has added 6 cool new updates to projects that collectively make it even more useful. Announced by OpenAI both on its website and through a post on X, the new capabilities are available to ChatGPT Plus, Pro, and Team users. If you're a subscriber, here's what you'll find. Deep Research Mode. You can now tap into ChatGPT's Deep Research Mode to arrange your chats, uploaded files, custom instructions and public web sources into a single project. Voice Mode. Instead of typing at the prompt, you can now verbally ask for information about an uploaded file or other content in a project chat. Share individual chats. You can now create a URL to share any chat from a project. Mobile upgrades. In a project chat, you can upload files and switch models from the mobile app. Just make sure you're running the latest version of the app. Improved project memory. With ChatGPT's memory option, you can now reference past chats in a project. Project creation. You can now transform any chat into a project either from the sidebar menu or by dragging the chat into the project folder. Newsletters. ZDNET Tech Today. ZDNET's Tech Today newsletter is a daily briefing of the newest, most talked about stories, 5 days a week. Subscribe. See all. How to try ChatGPT projects. Curious about ChatGPT projects? Here's how to give them a whirl. Sign into the ChatGPT website, Windows app, Mac app, iOS app or Android app. Select New Project or Add Project from the left sidebar. Name your project and select Create Project. Also, how to use ChatGPT to write code, and my top trick for debugging what it generates. From here, you can start a conversation, upload files and add custom instructions to build and shape the project. You can also add existing chats into your new project. To do that, drag any chat from the sidebar into the project or click the Chats menu and select Move to Project. You'll see each chat listed under the name of the project on the sidebar. From here, you can also upload files and add custom instructions. You can then try any of the new capabilities introduced by OpenAI. Run a deep research query. Speak to ChatGPT by voice in your project. Share any individual chat with someone else. Reference any past chat within a project. Also, is ChatGPT Plus still worth $20 when the free version packs so many premium features? Though ChatGPT projects may sound like just a way to place chats into individual folders, the feature can prove much more useful. Especially with the latest skills. Projects are smart workspaces that keep everything related to a long-running effort in one place, OpenAI said on its website. Group together chats, upload reference files and add custom instructions so ChatGPT remembers what matters and stays on topic. With memory, context and flexible tools, they're ideal for repeated and evolving work such as writing, research, planning and more. Want more stories about AI? Sign up for Innovation, our weekly newsletter. Editorial standards. Is ChatGPT Plus still worth $20 when the free version packs so many premium features? ZDNET. When ChatGPT first launched 2 years ago, the AI chatbot was met with such high demand that OpenAI introduced a premium plan called ChatGPT Plus. This plan guaranteed access to the chatbot even during blackout periods. The perks also included access to OpenAI's most advanced models, which at the time included GPT-4, making the $20 plan almost a no-brainer for super users. However, as OpenAI's offerings have continued to grow over the past couple of years, so have its plans. Also, how ChatGPT could replace the internet as we know it. If you consider yourself an AI power user, you're likely wondering which ChatGPT tier you should try. In this guide, we'll help you decide whether a free plan, ChatGPT Plus, or a $200 per month ChatGPT Pro subscription is the best fit for you. Disclosure: Ziff Davis, ZDNET's parent company, filed an April 2025 lawsuit against OpenAI, alleging it infringed Ziff Davis copyrights in training and operating its AI systems. You should use ChatGPT Plus if ChatGPT Plus costs $20 per month. You're probably asking yourself, why pay when you can use it for free? There are 5 main advantages. But the TLDR is that the free tier has heavy usage limits, and the Plus tier gets you the latest features and models first. If you only use ChatGPT now and then for fun, it's not worth subscribing. But if you use it for work, writing, creating images, using it as a search engine, or you find yourself opening the app all day, every day, then you need to subscribe. 1. You want to use deep research a lot. OpenAI recently launched Deep Research, and it's one of ChatGPT's most powerful tools. Deep Research lets the AI conduct multi-step web research and synthesize sources into a comprehensive report. Its agentic capabilities let it work independently, like a research analyst, generating a detailed report in 5 to 30 minutes, depending on complexity. Also, OpenAI's Deep Research can save you hours of work, and now it's a lot cheaper to access. Reports include embedded images with citations, and it can understand uploaded files. Everything has clear citations and includes a summary of the agent's reasoning so you can verify the information, work that would otherwise take hours. While Deep Research is available to all ChatGPT users, free users only get 5 so-called lightweight tasks per month. Plus, Team, Enterprise, and Edu users all get 10 tasks per month in addition to 15 lightweight ones. Pro users get a whopping 125 tasks per month and 125 more on the lightweight version. So, for most users, the Plus plan is more than sufficient. 2. You want to use advanced voice mode all the time. All paid ChatGPT subscribers, including Plus users, now have access to advanced voice mode in their accounts. This powerful feature takes voice assistance to the next level. It can be interrupted mid-sentence by you and adjust its responses based on perceived emotions in your tone, and it supports video and screen sharing for visual assistance. Also, how to use ChatGPT's voice mode and why you'll want to. OpenAI said a daily preview of advanced voice mode is available to free users through 4.0 Mini. But if you really prefer to interact with ChatGPT using your voice, you should upgrade to Plus for full access. Once you hit the daily allotment, which OpenAI hasn't specified, you'll be prompted to switch to standard voice mode. This is ChatGPT's basic voice interface that converts your speech to text and reads responses back, without the emotion-driven real-time adjustments of advanced voice. 3. You want to generate several images with GPT-4o. ChatGPT now uses the NEW GPT-4o image generator by default. This is OpenAI's most capable image generator to date. With it, you can simply ask, create an image of, describe a scene, and receive an AI-generated image that can include realistic human generations and even text. You can also upload an existing image and describe edits for GPT-4o to reply, like adding text, refining details, or changing backgrounds. Just be aware that complex requests may take a couple of minutes. Also, ChatGPT's new image generator shattered my expectations, and now it's free to try. Usage is capped for free users, but Plus and Pro subscribers can enjoy much higher daily quotas. OpenAI said free tier users can use GPT-4o only a limited number of times within a 5-hour window. It will notify you once you've reached the limit and invite you to upgrade to ChatGPT Plus. If you're on the free tier and rely heavily on image creation, you might see a message like, you've reached your image creation limit. Upgrade to ChatGPT Plus or try again tomorrow. So, if you need frequent or large-scale image outputs, ChatGPT Plus is an easy choice. 4. You want to use the Codex AI coding agent. OpenAI recently integrated its powerful Codex AI coding agent into ChatGPT Plus for just $20 a month. So now anyone with Plus can get AI-powered coding suggestions without shelling out $200. You can point it at your GitHub repo, and it'll whip up code changes, run checks to make sure nothing's broken, and even handle installing dependencies online if you let it. Just keep in mind it doesn't, remember, anything between sessions. So you have to give it clear instructions every time. Also, you can use OpenAI's super powerful AI coding agent Codex for just $20 now. Also, Since the coding agent is new to ChatGPT, you might encounter some speed bumps if many people are using it at once. 5. You want the latest and greatest ChatGPT features first. You're probably noticing a theme here. Most of ChatGPT's most advanced features are eventually made available to free users, but with heavy usage limitations. Therefore, the main benefit of upgrading is getting to use features like deep research, advanced voice mode, and GPT-4o image generation a lot more than you would on the free tier. Subscribing to ChatGPT Plus also gives you priority access to OpenAI's latest models and newest tools well before they reach the free tier. Also, I mapped my iPhone's control button to ChatGPT. Here are 5 ways I use it every day. Higher limits on advanced features. With a Plus account, you can access extended limits on messaging, file uploads, data analysis, advanced voice mode, GPT-4o image generation, the Codex AI coding agent, and more. Latest reasoning models. OpenAI's latest reasoning models can provide higher quality answers, and they're usually made available to paid users or rolled out with minimal usage limits to subscribers. As a Plus subscriber, you can choose from GPT-4o, GPT-4, GPT-4.1, GPT-4.1 mini, and the O series reasoning models, O3, O4 mini, O1, and O1 mini, via the ChatGPT model selector. Sora video generation, Plus, Pro, and Team subscribers have limited access to Sora, OpenAI's state-of-the-art text-to-video generator. Free, Enterprise, and Edu accounts aren't eligible for Sora access at this time. As a Plus subscriber, you get unlimited video generations up to 720p resolution and 10 seconds in duration, but you can run only up to 2 concurrent generations. If you don't want to miss out on the latest ChatGPT features and models, you should subscribe to the Plus tier. You should use ChatGPT Pro if. Okay, so now that we've discussed why Plus is worth it, let's look at the more expensive Pro plan that costs $200 a month. Most people would never pay a car note's worth of money to use AI, but there are special instances in which it could be worth it. 1. You want what ChatGPT Plus has on a greater scale. All ChatGPT Plus perks and features are included in ChatGPT Pro, but with far fewer usage constraints. Pro also adds several exclusive capabilities. Here's a rundown of the biggest benefits, should you be seriously considering the upgrade. Unlimited access to all reasoning models. This includes GPT-4o, GPT-4.1, and its mini variant, OpenAI O3, OpenAI O4 Mini High, OpenAI O4 Mini, and more. Unlimited advanced voice and image generation using GPT-4o. Extended deep research tasks. 125 full capacity queries per month, plus an additional 125 lightweight tasks. Priority access to Sora video generation. You get up to 1080p video generation, 20-second videos, 5 concurrent generations, and watermark-free downloads. Operator Research Preview, US only. This is an AI agent that can interact with web browsers and perform tasks on the internet, like filling out forms or booking reservations. OpenAI O1 Pro Mode, a beefed-up version of O1 for the toughest problems and most complex reasoning. GPT 4.5 Research Preview, OpenAI's largest, most knowledgeable model yet, designed for general-purpose use and more natural, fluid conversations. Also, How to Use ChatGPT, a beginner's guide to the most popular AI chatbot. As you can see, Pro offers more features as well as higher limits than the free tier. Pro users reportedly rarely encounter any constraints and can truly leverage the full power of ChatGPT and its newest tools. 2. You want access to O1 Pro Mode. One of the biggest selling points of ChatGPT Pro is O1 Pro Mode. Introduced in December 2024, O1 Pro Mode uses more computing resources to tackle especially hard math, science, or coding problems. Here's why it stands out. Also, what is ChatGPT Pro? Here's what $200 per month gets you. Increased reliability and accuracy. It ranks well on advanced ML benchmarks across math, science, and coding. Even under a stricter evaluation, must be correct 4 out of 4 times. Substantially outperforms O1 Preview and Standard O1. It's a good choice for users who need the most powerful reasoning engine possible. If you routinely solve intricate computational tasks, design complex algorithms, or conduct research that pushes AI to its limits, O1 Pro Mode will give you the best answers possible. You should use free ChatGPT if. Finally, let's look at the free version of ChatGPT. I discussed most of its features above, so in this section, I'll break down what advantages it can offer over the paid plans. It essentially comes down to how often you use ChatGPT and whether having access to the latest and greatest features matters to you. If you don't use it much and don't care, the free version is 100% the way to go. 1. You don't want to pay a monthly fee. The free subscription now offers many competitive AI features, reducing the need for a Plus subscription, especially for tools that were once paywalled. Free ChatGPT users can access GPT-4o Mini, plus limited access to GPT-4o and O3 Mini. ChatGPT Search, web browsing for timely information and sources. Image generation via GPT-4o, daily limit applies. Deep research, up to 5, lightweight, tasks per month. Advanced Voice Mode, Daily Preview, powered by 4.0 Mini. Advanced Data Analysis Tools, limited usage. File and photo uploads for in-chat discussions, limited usage. Custom GPTs in the GPT Store. Memory feature for referencing recent conversations, lightweight version. If you only need occasional AI assistance, and do not mind daily usage caps, the free tier should serve you well. It's surprisingly robust and now includes many advanced features that were once behind a paywall. For instance, OpenAI announced in June it's rolling out a lightweight memory feature to free ChatGPT users, allowing the model to reference your recent conversations for more personalized responses. You can easily toggle this on or off, or use temporary chat to control how much it remembers. 2. You're a casual ChatGPT user. If you rarely hit the daily usage limits for text, voice, or image generation, upgrading to Plus or Pro might not be necessary. Also, ChatGPT can record, transcribe, and analyze your meetings now. The free version offers enough headroom for light interactions, asking a few questions per day, generating a handful of images, briefly exploring advanced data analysis, and more. However, if you often see messages about hitting your limits for text, voice, images, etc., it might be time to consider paying for a subscription. For super users who need top-tier capacity and extended access to advanced features, there's ChatGPT Pro, but Plus is a more affordable middle ground. Ultimately, if your needs are minimal and limitations don't bother you, sticking with the free tier is perfectly fine. Sora, OpenAI's video generator, has hit the UK. It's obvious why creatives are worried. Artificial intelligence, AI, are United Kingdom. It is obvious that video generation tools such as Sora, Kling and Runway have the potential to transform the film, TV and advertising industries. One of the UK digital artists who has experimented with the tool, Josephine Miller, told The Guardian it has expanded opportunities for younger creatives, and she is already using it to pitch advertising concepts to brands. OpenAI says creatives and studios in locations where Sora is already available, such as in the US, have been using it to produce film and advertising concepts and pitches. It's telling that it's always pitches and advertising concepts that AI gets highlighted for it when talking about it being a huge change for professionals. Because it's actually F-seeking useless when applied into a professional setting, pretty much every creative field works collaboratively. You do your part and then you pass it on to the next creative role to their part. For example, in animation it goes storyboard to animatic to layout to animation to compositing to grading and mix and finally delivery. A big part of being in any of the roles is being able to take what the other stage hands you and work with it and hand it off to the next stage in a workable state. Working professionally is as much about being able to work in that collaborative role. Throw someone using AI in one of those areas and you are throwing hot garbage through the workflow. It's not consistent enough, it doesn't handle very well with stuff handed to it from a human and keeping in line with what's received for its output. Every professional I've heard from across numerous fields, from coding to writing to video work and animation, say that when someone uses AI in a collaborative project, the AI shits the bed and ends up creating more work than it solves. So of course the one area where it is often already a singular development piece away from actual crews or productions. The pitching and concept development stage is very often only one or two people developing. It's often the area that no one is paying for or getting paid that people spend months to years by themselves. So of course it's the area where they're drumming up all the, it's going to change the industry, news. Frankly, if AI was sold more as a concept development tool I might have more respect for it, but it's not, and it's constantly being shoved as something that will fundamentally change the entire industry. If there was a genuine interest in developing AI for the industry, we would have seen more of an attempt to design AI tools that fit into workflows and not some tech bro shitbrain thinking they're smarter than everyone and trying to squeeze everything into a single box and selling it. Sora, OpenAI. Foundational contributors. Research. Bill Peebles. Tim Brooks. Juri Zedbonta. Bram Wallace. Connor Holmes. Will Depew. Dimitro Okonko. Ricky Wang. Troy Lumen. Eric Minton. Harold Lee. Avi Verma. Clarence Ng. Aditya Product. Voyang Liu. David Schnurr, Gilman. Sora, OpenAI. Creating video from text. Sora is an AI model that can create realistic and imaginative scenes from text instructions. We're teaching AI to understand and simulate the physical world in motion, with the goal of training models that help people solve problems that require real-world interaction. Introducing Sora, our text-to-video model. Sora can generate videos up to a minute long while maintaining visual quality and adherence to the user's prompt. Today, Sora is becoming available to red teamers to assess critical areas for harms or risks. We are also granting access to a number of visual artists, designers, and filmmakers to gain feedback on how to advance the model to be most helpful for creative professionals. We're sharing our research progress early to start working with and getting feedback from people outside of OpenAI and to give the public a sense of what AI capabilities are on the horizon. Sora is able to generate complex scenes with multiple characters, specific types of motion, and accurate details of the subject and background. The model understands not only what the user has asked for in the prompt, but also how those things exist in the physical world. The model has a deep understanding of language, enabling it to accurately interpret prompts and generate compelling characters that express vibrant emotions. Sora can also create multiple shots within a single generated video that accurately persist characters and visual style. The current model still has room for improvement. It may struggle to simulate the physics of a complex scene, and may not comprehend specific instances of cause and effect. For example, a cookie might not show a mark after a character bites it. The model may also confuse spatial details included in a prompt, such as discerning left from right, or struggle with precise descriptions of events that unfold over time, like specific camera trajectories. We'll be taking several important safety steps ahead of making Sora available in OpenAI's products. We are working with red teamers, domain experts in areas like misinformation, hateful content, and bias, who will be adversarially testing the model. We're also building tools to help detect misleading content, such as a detection classifier that can tell when a video was generated by Sora. We plan to include X2PA metadata, opens in a new window, in the future if we deploy the model in an OpenAI product. In addition to us developing new techniques to prepare for deployment, we're leveraging the existing safety methods, opens in a new window, that we built for our products that use DALL-E 3, which are applicable to Sora as well. For example, once in an OpenAI product, our text classifier will check and reject text input prompts that are in violation of our usage policies, like those that request extreme violence, sexual content, hateful imagery, celebrity likeness, or the IP of others. We've also developed robust image classifiers that are used to review the frames of every video generated to help ensure that it adheres to our usage policies before it's shown to the user. We'll be engaging policymakers, educators, and artists around the world to understand their concerns and to identify positive use cases for this new technology. Despite extensive research and testing, we cannot predict all of the beneficial ways people will use our technology, nor all the ways people will abuse it. That's why we believe that learning from real-world use is a critical component of creating and releasing increasingly safe AI systems over time. Sora is a diffusion model, which generates a video by starting off with one that looks like static noise and gradually transforms it by removing the noise over many steps. Sora is capable of generating entire videos all at once or extending generated videos to make them longer. By giving the model foresight of many frames at a time, we've solved the challenging problem of making sure a subject stays the same even when it goes out of view temporarily. Similar to GPT models, Sora uses a transformer architecture, unlocking superior scaling performance. We represent videos and images as collections of smaller units of data called patches, each of which is akin to a token in GPT. By unifying how we represent data, we can train diffusion transformers on a wider range of visual data than was possible before, spanning different durations. Canva pricing. Compare free, pro, teams and enterprise plans. Save from 16% with yearly. Canva free. Design anything and bring your ideas to life. No cost, just creativity. Features you'll love. Easy drag and drop editor. 2M plus professionally designed templates. 1000 plus design types, social posts, docs, presentations, sheets, and more. 4.5M plus stock photos and graphics. AI creative partner for design, image and text generation Carrot. Build interactive designs and experiences with AI Carrot. Bring multiple formats in one design. Design printing and delivery. Canva Pro. Unlock premium content, more powerful design tools, and AI features. Everything in free, plus unlimited access to premium templates. 140M plus photos, videos, graphics, audio. 1000 brand kits to manage your brand. Quickly resize and translate designs. Remove backgrounds in a click. Create, resize, translate and remove backgrounds at scale. Boost creativity and productivity with 25 plus AI tools Carrot. Plan and schedule social content. Canva Teams. Transform teamwork, grow your brand, and simplify workflows. Per year per person. Minimum 3 people, $405 per year. Everything in Pro, plus. Scale your brand and centralize assets. Ensure brand consistency with approvals. Edit, comment, and collaborate in real time. Generate on brand text and visual assets with AI Carrot. Team reports and insights. Import and sync data from your favorite external sources. ISO 27001 certification and SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. Canva Enterprise. Empower your organization with an all-in-one workplace solution. Get in touch to learn more. Everything in Teams, plus. Centrally manage multiple teams and brands. Set individual or group design approvals. Control access to Canva's content and templates. Indemnification for AI output. Advanced security and admin controls, including AI permissions. Skim license provisioning. Custom apps and integrations. Priority customer support. Design support from Enterprise Studio Creative Team. Dedicated Customer Success Manager. For enterprise customers with 100 plus contracted seats. Carrot usage limits and AI-powered design tools vary between plans. Stock photos, graphics, fonts, videos, and audio. 4.7 plus million. 141 plus million. 2.2 plus million. 5 plus million. Create designs with custom dimensions. Export designs as PDF, JPEG, PNG. Export print-ready designs as CMYK. Multiple presentation modes. Save designs as templates. Limited messages per month. 10x the messages of free per month. 10x the messages of free per month, per person. Disabled by default, admins can enable. Generate a design with Canva AI. 50 total credits. 150 credits per month. 150 credits per month, per person. Create an image with Dreamlab. 20 credits per month. 500 credits per month. 500 credits per month, per person. Build interactive experiences with Canva Code. Limited free credits. 10 total credits. 500 credits per month. 500 credits per month, per person. 10 total credits. 500 credits per month. 500 credits per month, per person. Magic Media, text to image and graphics. Limited free credits. 500 credits per month. 500 credits per month, per person. Magic Media, text to video. 5 total credits. 50 credits per month. 50 credits per month, per person. Magic Write, including at scale. 50 total credits. 500 credits per month. 500 credits per month, per person. Magic Resize, including at scale. Translate, including at scale. Photo background remover, including at scale. Photo background generator. Photo and video animations. Manual. Automatic. 1 brand kit. 1000 brand kits. Linking folders and brand kits. Replace logos and imagery. Approval by individuals and groups. Org-wide brand kits and templates. Restricted sharing controls. Template library permissions. Granular element controls. IP indemnity content control. Minimum 100 seats. Connect API for custom integrations. Multi-factor authentication, MFA. ISO 27001 certification and compliance. Canva Shield, trust, safety and privacy. Canva Shield, AI output indemnity. Minimum 100 seats. Single sign-on, SSO, integrations. System for cross-domain identity management, SCIM. Unlimited. Tutorials, certifications, and self-help. Support tickets and live chat. Dedicated support case management. Dedicated customer success manager. Minimum 100 seats. 6 plus million teams use Canva. Canva Enterprise. Empower your organization and scale your brand with Canva's all-in-one workplace solution. Benefit from enterprise-level security and real-time team collaboration. Frequently asked questions. Canva Free is available to anyone. However, if you want to use Canva for work or a side hustle, you can upgrade to Canva Pro to unlock premium features, such as unlimited templates and brand kits. And if you need to collaborate with colleagues, you might be interested in a Canva Teams subscription, which is ideal for small to medium-sized businesses. With Canva Teams, you'll enjoy all the premium features of a Canva Pro plan, with more ways to collaborate and communicate as a team, including efficient approval processes, real-time communication, and centralized asset management. Want to see for yourself? You can start a free Canva Pro or Canva Teams trial for 30 days. Canva Pro is the best subscription for individual entrepreneurs and professionals looking to create visually standout content with ease. Only one person can use a Canva Pro account. If you want to collaborate with one or more colleagues, then you'll need to sign up for Canva Teams. This subscription is ideal for small to medium-sized businesses ready to boost team productivity with real-time communication and simplified workflows. Both Canva Pro and Canva Teams subscriptions unlock Canva's premium features and tools. The difference comes down to who's using it. Canva Pro is the perfect plan for individuals who want save time and design with full creative confidence. You can collaborate on projects and share your work with others, but if you're working on a small team, we'd recommend Canva Teams. Canva Teams is designed to meet the needs of teams in small or medium-sized companies. You get access to a joint workspace where team members can work together, share designs, and give feedback in real time. It's the ultimate teamwork tool. Depending on which subscription works best for you or your business, you can start a free 30-day trial of Canva Pro or Canva Teams. To activate your Canva Pro or Canva Teams account, you'll need to enter your credit card details or your preferred payment option. You can cancel anytime during your trial and won't be charged. If you're using Canva Teams, you can invite other team members to join your team. You won't be billed at all during your trial period. However, if you're using Canva Pro, you won't be able to add new team members as this plan is designed for individuals. To add new team members, you'll need to upgrade to a Canva Teams plan. Canva Teams is best suited for individual teams in small to mid-sized businesses that don't require complex team management and controls. Canva Enterprise is a great fit for multiple and large single teams of more than 100 people. Mainly in mid to large organizations and with complex requirements around security, administration, and team management. While both plans unlock premium content and features, Canva Enterprise can level up your company's visual communication and asset management with advanced brand controls, custom integrations, advanced security features, and admin controls. Contact our sales team to learn how Canva Enterprise can support your business needs. While we don't offer a free trial for Canva Enterprise, you can get in touch with our sales team to see a demo of Canva Enterprise and discuss your specific needs. Nonprofits can get a free Canva Teams subscription for one team of up to 50 users. Additional seats are 50% off. Apply today. Canva for Education is available for K-12, primary and secondary, educators, their students, and qualified school districts and institutions. Check out our full eligibility guidelines. Canva for Campus empowers higher education students, teaching staff, plus campus administrators and marketers to communicate visually and collaborate seamlessly. With Canva's suite of tools, we accept PayPal and credit cards by major providers such as Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. We also support other online payment systems in some countries. Take a look at this help article to learn more about payment options. Canva Teams operates on a pay-as-you-grow model. This means you only pay for the team members who accept your invitation. There's no immediate charge. Billing is adjusted monthly or quarterly if you're on an annual subscription. If you're on a monthly billing cycle, you can add new people at any time. You'll only be charged for the active people you have on your team at the next monthly renewal. For those on annual billing cycles, we have 4 pay-as-you-grow check-ins throughout the year. We'll email the team admin to inform them of any upcoming charges and give them a period to update their team size. Any additional costs will then be charged proportionally to the time remaining for your annual renewal. For example, if you add an additional seat to the first quarterly check-in, you'll be charged 75% of that seat's annual cost. Canva Enterprise offers great flexibility for your billing needs, including the option to set up regular invoicing. To learn more about your billing options with Canva Enterprise, reach out to our sales team. Your designs are always private, unless you explicitly choose to share them or save them as templates for your team. For inquiries about choosing the right plan or creating a personalized package for your organization, please reach out to our sales team via the contact sales form. Canva AI is currently only available in English. If your language setting is set to anything other than English, you won't be able to access Canva AI features.
Okay. That was Canva, the video editor. It costs nothing, but Must cost a little bit. Have to try it out. I don't know how it works. Oh shit! Good boy, Intermix sector. Adios. Thank you. I love you. I love you.